that was that bad.
I'll take it, man. It's acceptable.
Let's see. Let's zoom in on it and see.
How close it was. Is that both of our 2 claps right there?
I think that might be. That's not bad though. Like at least there's 2 like really good distinct peaks where I can like
match it to the video.
Yeah. And then once I like do the mixing to it,
we cooking with gas.
We'll bring them out.
There you go.
Bring them out. Bring them out.
Bring it out.
Bring them out. Bring them out. I used to be like, so when I was in I think I was in like middle school at the time. Mm-hmm. I think I went to go watch like the high school like basketball game, like the varsity basketball game, right? I was like 7th, 8th grade, and I was like, oh my God, this is so sick. I'm here at the high school watching the varsity basketball game. And they used to run out to that song, bring them out, bring them out.
Okay. Hey, that's good.
Bring them out, and I was like, they're like, oh, this is so cool.
Hypey
this
is
awesome.
Yeah.
And then, you do get to high school, and honestly, basketball games are pretty awesome.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, they can get, I can only imagine too, like, I had fun at the ones at Anzar. Like, I don't think I ever went to many basketball games, but I did go to a few of the football games. Mm-hmm. And I would have fun out there. So I can only imagine how much, like, crazy.
Those are a little different because at Anzar, you couldn't have them, like, at night, right? Because not have lights?
No, yeah, they
there?
Still did have them at
okay.
night. Yeah. They probably didn't have lights back in the day, but at this point they have them, Okay. But even still, I've been to some I've been to one at San Benito, and that was like during the day, and I think it was like younger kids just playing there, and even that was fun. Yeah. So like I could imagine it's.
No, they got down. Like in high school, those are fun. Like you're in high school, it's like that's your sports team. You freaking ride or die for your freaking team, and it's just fun. You know people on the team, so you go and you're fucking cheering for them and stuff like that. And that was cool. But the basketball games are always fun because we would I played baseball, so like all the baseball players would go, and then we would just like be talking hella shit. Yeah, like
to the other team.
Pretty fucking bad.
Oh yeah.
To like the point, I think it got to a point where they were like, hey, if you guys go to the basketball games, you can't like when they would when the other team would like airball, right? We'd be airball, shit like that, And they're like, hey, you guys can't do that anymore. That's probably not good, but. Those are fun. Those are fun times.
Oh, dude, definitely. I feel like it's a stereotype in movies, kind of, but it is kind of true. It's like, especially with small towns.
Yeah.
There's always like a lot of pride for the school teams.
Exactly. Cheers.
Time to get twisted, baby.
Let's get twisted.
Let's get twisted. Pa, pa, pa.
But yeah, that is funny because I have been watching One Tree Hill, right? And that's basketball, small town basketball team, win state. And it's like, that is kind of how it feels. Like, I mean, our football team never won state or anything, but we won I think CCS a couple times. And I remember going to those championship games and it was like, holy shit, this is pretty fucking dope.
Pretty hyped up.
Pretty fucking dope. Definitely, I had a good ass time.
Yeah, I heard Ev told me she finished the whole thing already.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, holy fuck, dude.
She's nuts, dude.
9 seasons, right?
One day she was on season 4, and then the next day she was like, oh, yeah, I'm on season 6. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? That doesn't even make sense.
I think she has literally figured out how to adjust the space-time continuum so that she can watch more episodes in a smaller time frame.
The thing about binging is you're either laying there watching it all day, or whenever you're doing shit, say you're cleaning your room, you have it on and you're watching it, or you're doing this, you have it on and you're fucking watching it.
I do,
because that's what I'll do. I'll be making breakfast and I'll be watching it on my phone and doing shit like that.
I'll do that with sitcoms or shows that I've already seen before. But if it's anything that's 45 minutes to an hour that has things that I need to pay attention to, I zone out so fucking hard. I can't do something else while I'm trying to watch it.
I feel you.
Either I'll I mess up both ways. Either I'll zone out on what I'm doing and I'll have to rewatch the episode, or sometimes me and Ev would try to make dinner and like watch an episode of something, and I would just be sitting there like watching the TV, and she's like, "Hey, I need your help," and I'm like, "Yep, yeah, I know, I'm going."
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Like being able to like, you know, have your phone or have like access to like your television if you're doing something like that, because you're either going to want to sit down and watch what you're watching, or you're going to be actively doing what you're doing and not, you know. Yeah. That's why you know, something like One Tree Hill, I've watched it before, so like I'm able to like, okay, I'll have breakfast and like,
you can like follow along.
Yeah, I like generally know like what the heck's going on. But like something like a new show, right? Like I've been watching The After Party.
Oh
recently,
yeah, good. Yeah,
and,
how do you like it?
It's awesome, dude. I really like it.
Right?
I like that each episode is obviously like a different genre of like
it's
movies.
Their own style,
and it's like it's their own genre, it's their own style of movies, but I also like that each like, yes, each one is like a different point of view because it is like a different character.
It's their mind movie.
But I also like each episode is like one of the it's like a stereotype of why people go back to
their high school reunion
and stuff like that. So it's like a layered sort of like thing going on. And I was like, I picked that up today. I was like, oh my God. Like I was like 4 episodes deep and I was like, oh my God, it's also this. And I was like, holy shit, this is like a really well constructed show. And yeah, it's funny. I like it a lot.
You're still on season 1?
Yes, I'm on season 1.
Nice.
They're still trying to figure out who killed Xavier.
Yeah, Dave Franco, right?
Yeah. Don't tell me who it is.
No, of course not. Yeah.
My theory is I think it's Zoe.
Zoe? Okay.
Like Zoe is like my number 1.
That's the girl that Anik likes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because this bitch is in every single fucking story.
Yeah.
And she's just sitting there a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like she's not really like actively doing. She's just there. I feel like there are a couple times where like the camera like really makes a point to like stop when she is like in the
frame.
Kind of
lingers on her.
Lingers on her a little bit. So I'm like, this chick's,
You're telling me something subconsciously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think she has some, I don't know if she has like motive. I'm still trying to figure out her motives to kill Xavier.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe they had an affair because Chelsea and Brett had an affair.
Yeah.
So I think maybe she had an affair with Xavier.
Okay.
And maybe, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out in my head.
It's an interesting theory.
I'm trying to figure that out in my head. Yeah. It's either her or I think Walt. Just because Walt is like...
Walt's the same,
Yeah, he's just there.
Yeah.
Nobody really remembers who he is. And I feel like that is cause for someone to be like, oh, I'm going to kill somebody.
He's also like incredibly socially awkward.
Yeah.
So he also just kind of fits the bill of like a killer too in like the traditional aspect. But they do a good job, I think, of like spreading the breadcrumbs like far enough to where you do have like a couple of different people like in mind,
Yeah, because also like I think in the first couple episodes I had what's his name, Jasper. I had him on my
that's
he's
John
like,
Ralphio, right?
Yeah, does all the singing and like he does all the music and stuff like
Damn
that.
It. He plays Sonic the Hedgehog too. I'm gonna be mad. Oh, Ben Schwartz. There you go. It's Ben Schwartz. Yeah.
He was on my list at first just because he seemed like the least likely to commit a murder.
Okay, yeah, so you instantly go for
so
that,
it's like, okay, like he has to be on my radar because like just at face value, I wouldn't think that he'd be capable of murdering somebody.
But then you're like,
is
the show trying to do that to me though? Yeah, that's what they want me to think.
But then I was like watching and I watched his episode and I'm like, nah, I think this dude really is just like trying to get X to hop on one of his tracks.
I know, seriously, poor
Scape
dude.
Diem, dude.
It's so funny, dude. Oh God, he's so good at like playing that role, and like it's weird because he can play like cringe, but it's almost like not like cringe when he does it because of like how well he does it, but it still is. Like I don't know how to explain it.
They're like each story, I think Jasper is a different level of cringe because it's from everyone's different point of view.
That's a good point.
I think he is the most cringe in his own episode because he is just like the musical and just like the way he's acting.
I had a little bit of a hard time with that one. I liked it at first, and then I was like, okay, too many songs.
Yeah. It was too. Yeah, that's my thing too. I think I like watched it halfway and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something else.
It's like they're still doing more musical bits.
Like not that they were bad, but it was just like I think just too many back to back in a short period of time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like you don't need 6 numbers in like a 45-minute episode.
Dude, I think I think that episode is like 35 minutes long. It's not even long.
That's
so
a
like
lot,
yeah.
It does fit. Like I do like that they gave like, the aspiring like musician character a musical episode. Like for sure.
Yeah.
But fuck, dude, it just drags a little bit. It's intense,
I think the last one I left off was the Chelsea episode, and that one's like a mystery, not really like a horror, but like a mystery noir almost type.
Which one's Chelsea again?
The one with like the curly hair.
Does she have the glasses too?
No, she didn't have the glasses.
Chelsea. Let me look up the cast.
She has like curly hair, and she's wearing like a white like fuzzy like jacket like the whole time.
Because I was talking, Buddy told me that you were watching it, and I was like starting to name people from it, but I realized because she was like getting confused, and I was like, "What do you mean? Of course they're in it." I was fucking naming people from White Lotus though.
Oh god damn it!
And I was like confusing my two fucking whodunits. So,
dude, I can't wait for that to come back. I'm ready. I'm so ready for that to come back.
I know. I'm sad that this one got
canceled.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that like the second season is still good, but I don't think it's as good.
I think
as
it's
season 1.
I think it's also just like a hard show because like in the second season, do they do more of the same where like each episode is like a different genre of
it's the and they do a good job too of like what you're saying in terms of like, you know, the typical stereotypes at the particular situation. In the second season, it's a wedding. So you have all of your wedding stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, like I had the same reaction with White Lotus as well, where like it's hot, and even with Knives Out, like I think whodunits should just be one and done maybe. As much as I do want more seasons of like this other one, right? It's like it's kind of hard to follow up and make a second whodunit in like a series.
I think White Lotus does it a little bit better because while it is a whodunit, I think it is more centered around like the drama between all the people that are like, you know,
up at the location.
Yeah, at the location and like happen to be a part of whatever happens at the end.
Yeah.
I just think like something like the after party is probably like harder to sustain for like a lot more seasons just because you are kind of doing the same thing every season with like each episode is like a different like shot in a different genre.
The same gimmick every time.
Yeah, and it's like how many different genres can you like cycle? I mean, there are a lot, but it's just like
there is endless because that's the thing is it's like I think you probably could do it basically forever because there's like tons of they showed us in this last one that they're willing to dip even further back. Oh no, I'm sorry, season 2, but in an episode in season 2 they do like a really really old school style of like filmmaking, like back to like 40s and 50s kind of stuff. Wow. Which so like there's a wide variety of stuff for them to come at. I think it's more just that like after a while, as cool as that is at first, you start to want some consistency, I think, of like tone, right? Especially in something like a whodunit or whatever, when you're trying to like figure out the mess and everything.
Yeah. But yeah. And I think when you do start like really spacing out like your genres, right? Like if you're dipping too far back and then kind of going to something more present, you know, like I think that can be a little like jarring, like as a viewer being like, damn, in this episode I was like in this mode and now I'm in this mode in this episode.
You also just have to find the right ones because like even though there is probably endless amounts of genres like for any given thing, there's only some that really resonate with like large audiences of people. You have like your classics, right? So like maybe there's like a crazy hybrid like thriller psychology comedy like genre, but that's not one that people are going to instantly be like, oh, I know this, I've seen a movie like this before. Like you have to pick stuff that's familiar.
And I think just like you said, what it boils down to is like just consistency. Like you want, as a viewer, you just want consistency at some point, you know.
What was weird is that like I felt it a little bit less in season 1, but I felt it even more in season 2, is that like going from genre to genre across episodes was never really jarring for me. What was hard was jumping back and forth within the episode. Like after a while, like again in season 1 it didn't bother me so much, but in season 2 you're like knee deep in a certain genre of something, right? But then it pulls back to see like Tiffany Haddish talking with like, you know, whoever she's interrogating, and it's back to just like regular Apple TV, like very clean, pristine like stuff or whatever. And it's just like, it's just jarring. It's like, it's a lot. Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. But it's good though. I do like it. And like I said, I'm sad it's not getting another season, but 'tis what it is.
That's show business, man.
Not going to lose any sleep over it.
Exactly. Man. And there's a lot of good stuff to watch on Apple TV too. Like I haven't heard a lot of stuff that Apple TV's like, oh, we're going to cancel this, you know?
Yeah. I still really want to check out Monarch. My dad has been watching it and he said it's pretty good.
I've heard that's good as well.
Yeah. He said Godzilla's actually in it quite a bit. It's not Apple TV, but Percy Jackson comes out tomorrow.
Ooh, I think it's out tonight already.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, yeah, they do early release.
Yeah. Because I was on Hulu, and I saw that they had it already.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For like Disney, so
I'll probably watch an episode or two of that tonight.
I think it's just the first episode.
Oh, they're doing weekly?
Mm-hmm.
Motherfuckers. Okay.
It's Disney.
I know. I forgot. I just figured because they don't do that with everything. And like, I know Echo is, I think, releasing all at once. Like,
I think they probably just like, I think things they probably don't have the most faith in. They're just like, okay, let's just drop it all at once.
Yeah.
But I think just because Percy Jackson is
has
like
a big following.
Yeah. You know, it is like, yeah, it is pretty big.
Yeah.
So they're probably just going to.
Yeah.
And maybe it's super fucking good, and they're like, yeah, we need to fucking.
Yeah, dole it out because they know they can like extend the viewership of it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I read the original 5 books in like the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. And then I never finished it because they were still coming out when I was reading them, but I read the follow-up series.
Okay.
But now I've gone back and looked, and like that got finished with like a bunch more books, and there's also like spin-off books and stuff.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
like in the book world there's like a good chunk of like stuff for them to play with, which
I wonder if
I think
as
is
an
cool.
author, if you ever just get tired of like I wonder if that author ever gets tired of like, fuck, just Percy, they want more Percy Jackson stuff, like,
Yeah.
fuck, you know.
I think it probably depends because like one of the things that like his name is Rick Riordan or Riordan. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his last name.
We salute you, Rick.
We do, yeah. I think he's great because, like, one of the things that is really smart is, like, just to get into spoilers for, like, the second series. Sorry, yeah. It's from what I remember. Basically, Percy is the main character for the most part and goes through his whole journey across his first 5 books and becomes, like, this awesome Olympian hero or whatever, right? And then the second series hits and he loses his memory and is put in a new camp because like the whole thing of Percy Jackson is like they have Camp Half-Blood, right? Which is like kids with dyslexia and ADHD actually have these abilities because they have dyslexia because their brain is wired to read Greek.
Yeah.
And they
Ancient
have
Greek and shit like that,
and they have ADHD because they're demigods, so they're like you know, fucking superhuman basically. And they have a camps for all of the kids like who are, you know, demigods and stuff. Yeah. But in the second series, you find out that there's another separate camp that they like try not to cross with that is the same shit, but for like the Roman version of the gods. And so Percy starts to like make his way into that. So it's like very like God of War-ish in that sense, where it's like he spends time with like different pantheons.
Interesting.
And then it like kind of like expands the character roster too, which is cool. So like, from what I remember when I was a kid, I liked the way that he was expanding the like universe of stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it probably does get annoying after a while to be like, yeah, give me another Percy Jackson book or give me this or give me that. Unless he just really loves writing for that world.
Hey, Rick,
like,
we need more Percy Jackson. The audience wants more Percy Jackson. We need more. Fuck, man.
All right, man, I guess. Another book.
Actually, I have this idea for this whole other series that I think would be really good.
No, slap Percy Jackson in and we'll talk. Yeah.
Fuck. And you said he loses his memory in the second series?
At first, yeah. I think he like starts to gain snippets of it back by like the end of the first book, and then like by book 2 or something like that, he's back with like his original homies.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that. I always feel like the memory loss in like a later like, you know, in like a spinoff or something is such like a cop out of like, oh yeah, the character's just going to lose their memory. I feel and then we're going to start over again.
I feel like
granted, it could be done really well, right?
It just depends on how you do it. It's like anything. Yeah. But I get it. It is like, it's an easy way to have a reset without breaking like the rules of the universe. Yeah. Like they can still have experienced everything that they did, but they can also be a fresh slate of a character. Yeah. He
just lost his memory.
Yeah. But also all the books that you like are still there, or like all the stories that he went through are still there. He just doesn't remember them.
Like I'd be pissed if like there was like a second Harry Potter series, right? And they're just like, Harry lost his memory. Yeah. And he just forgot that he was the boy who lived.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
He's just a regular guy now.
Yeah. No, it's funny. It's and what I do like about the way they do it in this, not to like harp on it too long, but is it's like one of those cool things where it's like what have you ever seen I'm forgetting what it's called, but that movie with Jesse Eisenberg where he's like a sleeper agent, but he's
yeah.
So it's kind of like that where like he doesn't remember like stuff, but he's still like a badass because it's in his bones. Okay. So he's like beating the shit out of like monsters and being like, whoa, I'm pretty strong. Like, what the fuck? This is crazy. And like that kind of stuff I do like.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah. What is that movie with fucking Jesse Eisenberg?
I think it's called like
It's like American
American Ultra,
because
it's like it's off of MK Ultra. He's like an old MK Ultra agent or something.
Yeah,
or like a new version of MK Ultra.
And who else is in that movie? Fucking,
I think it's what's her name, Kristen Stewart, right?
Yeah, the one from
Twilight.
Yes.
Yeah, Bella.
Yes, yeah, she was in it as well.
Yeah, that one was pretty funny. I liked it. I remember. I haven't seen it in a long time, but when I did watch it, I remember I liked it.
Good action in that movie as well. Yeah. Like it's like one of those like Scott Pilgrims. Like you wouldn't think Jesse Eisenberg is like a crazy good like action action star, but then you do it, you're like, oh damn, this guy's like pretty fucking good.
Well, because it's smart writing, because it's like, again, it's like being aware of like kind of the buzz around the actor and like the kind of things that they usually get typecasted for is like, it almost works because it's so opposite of what they're normally in. It's like, you know, him as like the nerdy guy from The Social Network or whatever, right? He's like Mark Zuckerberg. He's probably like one of his most famous roles. Or like Zombieland, where he's like, you know, the scared freaking Columbia one or whatever.
I like him in freaking, have you seen 30 Minutes or Less?
Oh,
when he's the pizza delivery driver.
I've only watched that once. That's like where he like robs a bank or store or something, right?
Well, he like, I can't remember how it happens, but he like goes to deliver something or something happens, and like these people like strap a fucking bomb to him.
Oh
basically.
yeah, okay, yeah. And
it has him. I think Danny McBride's also in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Doesn't it also have was Aziz Ansari in that one?
I hope not. No, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Let's look it up. Because that was a good movie. Also, again, I always shout them out. Dom and Adam, for sure. They were like, they put me onto hella movies, and that was one
of them back then, yeah.
Yeah, where they're like, oh yeah, this movie is fucking crazy. And I watched it, I was like, damn, this movie is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't remember it that much, but I do remember I must have watched it at least once. Unless it was just one of those ones that was like on trailers at the beginning of a movie I had.
Danny McBride's in it, Nick Swartzen's in it,
yeah,
Michael Pena. Who else?
I don't really know the rest of that cast so much.
This guy.
That guy. This guy. That girl. This girl.
This guy looks familiar. Sometimes I don't. Oh yeah, Aziz. Yeah. This guy, just having this picture for this guy, I feel bad, dude.
I know, huh? It's kind of intense.
Yeah.
Everybody else has like a headshot.
Or like this guy right here.
Yeah, just really up close.
This one's almost all bad too. I feel bad for that guy. This one's pretty cool. Like this is like a cool like. It's like, you're like, hey, give me a picture, and he was like, you know, this one looks fucking badass. This one looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
This one.
Headshots are tough, man. You gotta find the right thing.
Yeah. Fucking Danny McBride, dude.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
But yeah, this is a fucking good one.
30 minutes or less.
But yeah, guys, if you don't know, and you've been listening to us talking for the past 20 minutes, and you're like, who are these freaking guys?
What's up?
Guess what, guys? This is Too High for TV, where two guys get too high and talk about a little bit too much TV.
Yeah, maybe just a little.
Yeah. The name of the podcast is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
You know, if you like, or like, if you were sitting there like, Too High for TV, what is that about? I don't know.
We get too high and we talk about TV.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. Like, put two and two together.
It's just exactly. It's no double meaning. There's no, like, secret theme underneath it or anything like that, you know? It's just, it is what it is.
We're just two guys getting high, drinking some fucking twisted teas.
Yeah.
And we sit here and we talk about movies. We get a couple movies or TV shows every single week, and we sit down and we discuss what we liked, what we didn't like.
Yeah.
You know, we try to get technical as much as we can,
you
know?
As much as our knowledge lets us.
Exactly. And I think we have been getting better at it because we've been just exposing ourselves to more cinema.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, we're just two guys. My name is Ryan.
My name's Daniel.
And, yeah, we're just here to talk in your ears, sit there. You know, if you want to put us on when you're in the car driving somewhere, when you're sitting there folding laundry at home, you know, folding your chonies, freaking
whenever you have
folding up your socks,
time
you know.
to kill, man, we'll be here, you know.
We'll be there for you.
We'll be your buddies.
Exactly.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Not with you technically, but to you.
You can feel like you're part of the conversation.
Yeah.
We can talk about stuff, and if you want to like pause and then give your 2 cents, just if you're by yourself,
just
like,
do it.
You know, that's cool.
And record it and send it back to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
be like, hey, remember what you guys said at 23 minutes and 47 seconds in your podcast episode? And I'll be like,
nope,
probably not.
No, but please, we still want to hear it though.
Yeah,
Let us know.
Tell me.
Tell me what I said, and then tell me what you were going to say in response to that.
Tell me what you said.
Tell me. But yeah, we're back with Another festive episode. We're not dressed quite as festively as we were last time, but we're still talking about the Christmas spirit.
We're still within the festivities. We got the Believe pillow right here.
Always got to have that one shown.
This pillow says Merry Christmas.
So does this one.
That says Merry Christmas. Good. We have like what is this called?
Grass.
Yeah, we got the grass.
Christmas grass.
We got the Christmas grass right here with the it's not tinsel, but it's like, some ribbon.
Like a ribbon,
some ribbon type.
Yeah.
And behind the camera, there's a full-on Christmas tree.
Big old tree.
So you can't tell us that we're not Christmased out because we are Christmased out. There's also some more Christmas grass over there.
Yeah.
There's some more Christmas grass over there. You can't see it, but it's there. You got to believe me, Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing,
God, that's such a cheesy one, dude. Honestly, that was one where I was like, I get what you're going for, but not the best word.
It's like the same thing in like the Polar Express. Like the Polar Express, they basically say the same thing.
It's just the Christmas idea of like.
But like Polar Express, like they add more like meaning. Like I think they explain it a little bit better.
Yeah,
they're like the things that mean the most to us. Sometimes we don't see. Blah blah blah. Shit like that. Where this is just like, believing isn't seeing. Seeing is believing.
Yeah, they're like, okay. This just sounds like Christmas, doesn't it? And you're like, it does. Yeah.
I guess it's Christmas, but guys, we're Christmased out.
Yeah. It's Christmas time, dude.
It is Christmas time. It is almost Christmas. Christmas is gonna be on a Monday this year. That's freaking
kind of crazy.
That is like, whoever, like mass produces all the calendars and stuff like that. And when you see that Christmas is on a Monday, you gotta contact someone and be like, whoa,
we gotta fix this.
We gotta fix this. We either push it back a day or make it a day earlier.
Yeah. Definitely a day earlier. I feel like Christmas is nicer on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure like. For people who like maybe get the day off because of Christmas or stuff like that, it's probably nice to have a Monday off or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just such a weird day for the holiday.
Yeah. Especially like, because, I work freaking Monday through Friday, so I get Monday off because it is Christmas, but then I got to go back to work on Tuesday.
Yeah, and it's like Christmas Eve is on a Sunday night too, which is like, I don't know. I like to party on Christmas Eve. I'm usually with my cousins going ham.
Oh, there you go.
So like,
I imagine you guys go get down.
So it's nice to have. I mean, it's not gonna matter, right? Because like Christmas Day again, like at least in the jobs that we have, we get it off, so it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like Christmas Eve party on a Sunday night. Just seems weird.
Yeah, and then is like I think New Year's Eve is on a Sunday.
That's kind of weird. I mean, that one, I guess, is all right. In my book,
it feels fitting to start a new year on a Monday.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like the New Year start. I mean, technically, I always forget, but technically, Sunday is the first day of the week.
Is it the start of the week though?
No, it's not the start of the work week, but on a calendar, Sunday is I think the first day of the week. Yeah. Like we've been conditioned that the week is Monday through Friday, but technically speaking, the week is Sunday through Saturday.
I forget who sings the song, but it goes Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday starts it, so yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Going off of like I think it's called like the Gregorian calendar or whatever, the one that like we use. Yeah, Sunday's technically the first day.
Sounds like a Harry Potter character.
100% Gregorian Saint Hickory or some shit.
The great wizard Gregorian created this calendar.
I want to say that Gregorian would be a Slytherin because it goes with the G, but I'm sorry, a Gryffindor because it goes with the G, but I could also see Gregorian being like a Slytherin.
Yeah, I can see that.
I could see him either being like a full-on evil Slytherin or maybe like one of those Slytherins that was like actually kind of all right.
Like what's that, Professor Slugworth or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
The one that he's just kind of dopey.
Yeah. Like he's still in the bad house. Like there's no two ways about it. Slytherin is literally the house for evil people.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes you have like
it's like the house for like evil people and the people that are like susceptible to
becoming evil.
Doing bad things because they're just maybe not smart.
Sure. Or they are easily pressured too.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like Slugworth's not dumb. Like he's at least smart enough to be like the potions teacher and stuff, right? So he has to know some stuff like academically speak. I mean, he wouldn't be a teacher if he was straight up stupid.
Yeah.
But like dopey and dumb are also different things, I think. Because like you could be really smart and still be a fucking dope. You know?
Yeah. I think he's pretty dopey because he's just 100%. Like
he's a little goofball. Yeah. He seems like he's just high off of some potion that he made all the time.
Of course. That's hella funny. Fucking
his eyes are like kind of glazed over all the time a little bit.
Oh, dude, that dude was smoking something for sure.
For sure, he's smoking some gilly weed, dude.
100%, dude.
Yeah, big time.
He was, he should have been a fucking Hufflepuff, dude.
Honestly, just laid back and chill.
Damn, that reminds me. I still never completed my second playthrough of Hogwarts Legacy
because I was doing start one.
Yeah, I was gonna be Hufflepuff, and I think I started one, but it's one of those games where once you do everything,
it's hard to go back and do it again.
Yeah, because you're like, fuck, now I got to restart with.
That's one thing that I've been noticing about like replaying games in general is kind of tough, but especially games like Hogwarts where like a lot of stuff is based off of discovery. Like when none of the map has anything like any icons on it and you haven't seen any of it physically yet, every time you go to a new place you're like, oh, this is cool, I just found this. Or like, oh wow, there's a cave here that has like a whole boss fight in it or whatever. It's great. But then you go back and you're like, oh, I remember this. Like, this is cool. Whatever. Like, blah, 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 this, and that. But it's not the same.
I hope they do, like, another game, because I would be down for, like, a Hogwarts Legacy, like, sequel, I think
they are. I remember. I mean, it was directly after the game released and was, like, super successful. It made a ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
But, so, like...
It was super fun. It was a great game.
It was. I agree. I liked it a lot. Maybe, like, a little basic by today's standards of open world, but I don't... When you have... Like, I feel the same way with Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man, even Spider-Man 2 is, like, a really basic open world. But because the IP is so popular and the surrounding, like, story and game around it is so good, it doesn't really matter that much. Because it's Harry Potter. So, like, it could go back to being, like, Grand Theft Auto 4. Yeah. And I would be happy.
I think Hogwarts Legacy is similar to, like, Spider-Man PS4 in the sense that, like, they're both, like, the first... Well, I mean, Spider-Man... PS4 wasn't like the first open world Spider-Man game, but just newer generation, first modern like open world Spider-Man game that was very open world. Yeah. But was like once you are doing everything does get very like repetitive, right? Like when you do like when you like bust the thieves or you go to like whatever like nest or whatever, like all the fights are very, very similar. And I think that's what Hogwarts Legacy like pretty much was like
I feel like that's what happened with the puzzles in that game is like there was a lot of them like populated on the map, but once you did like the 6 or 7 different types of puzzles that they had, you had done them all.
I think it's also the same with like the first fucking Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, you know,
it's a lot of
It was like very like, oh my gosh, this is crazy because you're in the Star Wars world, but once you realize how like kind of limited you were, when you go back, like when I went back and played it for a second time, I was like, damn.
That's what it is. It's the replays. It's like when you go through it the first time, there's like the rose tinted goggles on you kind of like, oh man, it's so cool. I finally have a next gen insert IP here like game on the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5, right? Yeah. And it's got beautiful graphics and the gameplay is really good and it's super fun to fuck people up or whatever. And so you just like breeze through it and it's cool and you're experiencing the story for the first time. But then that stuff, like, it loses its luster a little bit. I feel like you have to give it, like, a cool few years before you do a replay on something. Because otherwise it's just too hard to... I mean, there are exceptions, right? Like, there's certain... Like, I feel like games that have a lot of choice in them are fun to replay, like RPGs and stuff. Because then you can take different paths and, like, it changes the story. But, with, like, single-player titles that are, like, story-driven, even if it's in an open world, it's hard to go back, man.
Yeah. I will say I am excited, though, for, like, a second Hogwarts Legacy, if there is one. Just because, like, we've seen how good a sequel can be for a video game when you... like have time to sit back and like look at like, okay, what did our consumers want like from the game, right? Like they like the game, what did they not like about the game, how can we improve on that? And I think stuff like Jedi Survivor is like a good example of that, of like how like to really like take the next step in a sequel and be like way better. And then also like Spider-Man 2, like Spider-Man 2 was like, even Spider-Man to like Spider-Man Miles Morales, right?
Oh, it was a huge jump.
And then from Miles Morales to Spider-Man 2
even bigger
was crazy. So I have like high hopes for like a very good Hogwarts Legacy sequel.
Another thing that I want to see from them too at some point is that like I think the two main differences just at a base level between like how big the jumps were between something like Jedi 1 and Jedi 2 or Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 is that the first game in the series was either solely on last gen or tried to be cross-platform, which Hogwarts Legacy also did. And so far to the point where they even built it so that they could port it onto the Switch.
Oh, dang.
So, because that's out now. And apparently it actually runs. Like, obviously it doesn't look as good as anything that we would get on, like, PlayStation 5 or, like, PC or whatever. But it works and it runs pretty good apparently. But that's already a huge leap. If you leave behind the previous generation and you decide to just make something for either current gen or next gen, if you're planning it, like that gives you so much more freedom to do stuff, you know, like as much as I do love riding around on a broom, I could have it be a little faster.
Yeah.
Like if they could make the world loading a little bit, like that's the big thing in Spider-Man 2, right? Like that's why you can swing so much faster in the game, is because the PS5 just allows you to load more of the world quicker. That's like why you have a speed barrier and stuff like that.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be good. But I do think there is plans. I'm pretty sure they announced immediately after, like, oh yeah, we're gonna make more money off of this for sure.
Yeah,
like,
I would think so because it was a huge success. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with it. You had a lot of fun with it. Diggs had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
It is just like we were saying, it's just one of those things where once you get to the end game, you're like, okay, I've done a lot of these things.
It's hard to, like, some games are good. I will say, I think Spider-Man 2 did a good job to me of making those end game activities fun because they did tie story stuff to them. But when you're just doing the same shit that you've done the entire game and you have no more story to follow, there's no reason for you to want to do them other than just like checking the boxes off and maybe getting the trophy. Yeah. It's like, well, why am I doing this then? Like, I'm not getting anything out of this. Yeah.
You could be a trophy hunter, bro. You could be a...
I know. I am sometimes. I'm a completionist. Like I have some platinums, probably not nearly as many as like an actual completionist, but
Spider-Man 2 was the first game I've ever 100%ed.
Really?
Yep.
Nice.
Where I sat down and was like, okay, like let's do this. Let's fucking do this.
Everything that I can.
Hogwarts was going to be the first one.
Yeah.
But like we said, we got to the end game and it's just like, fuck, all right. Like it's just doing a lot of the same what we've been doing. And I don't have like the mental capacity or just focus to actually just keep doing these, you know.
Hogwarts also does one of the things that I do not like when it comes to trophy hunting or completionist stuff is I don't really like when games make new playthroughs, new game pluses, or like the hard mode that you unlock after you beat the game on the hardest difficulty. When there's a trophy tied to that, it kind of annoys me a little bit because I'm like, you're not necessarily going to have the time or the ambition to want to do a whole nother fucking playthrough of a game already, especially if it's like amped up on like an extra hard difficulty or something like that. Like leave those at the door. Like get me a cool cosmetic reward that's like the coolest fucking outfit in the game, or like, you know, give me unlimited spells or some shit, like something game breaking within the game. But like I don't like when they tie that kind of stuff to progression.
Yeah, I think they also needed more just like super cool like side missions.
Yeah,
you know?
Some of them were really good, but in the grand scheme of them, with how many there were, they were for sure in the minority of like the ones that were really, really good stuff.
The one that really only like I remember that sticks out to me is when you're able to get your own store in Hogsmeade, and then it's like that horror.
And that's also only a PlayStation exclusive quest too.
But dude, that shit was so fun.
That was really good.
That was I remember awesome. Like playing and being like, holy shit, this
feels
is
like main story shit, right?
Yeah, main story, and it like they did such a good job of like making it like a horror game, you know, like it wasn't like bloody or anything, but like it was a
thriller.
It was fucking tense for sure, you know. Like mannequins aren't the fucking, you know, the coolest things in the world,
especially not when you turn around and there's like an army of them behind you all of a sudden.
It's good tripping. There was so much of that stuff that was like so good. Like there's I think one where like you start running around like I think a corridor, and I was like, fuck, dude, I feel like I'm just running around in circles. And then the voice is like, you're like you're running around in circles. Like shit like that. And I was like, oh my God.
It's listening to my thoughts. Yeah, it's good shit.
There's a lot, dude. Yeah, that one was fun. Or like there was like even some parts where you like walk forward and you're like, okay, I think I'm going to walk back. And you walk back and it's just like blocked off. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to keep walking forward, I guess.
That's one of my favorite things in like video games is like when they decide to do trippy sequences like that, because those are already fun enough to watch in a movie, right? Like the one that comes to mind is like Order 66 in Jedi Fallen Order, where it's like if I just saw an image of Cal like walking into a train and then like he turns around and all of a sudden he's like in the corridor and like going through like his like flashback again, that's already cool enough as a movie. In a video game where you're used to like walking the like critical path and like, oh, I'm going to go towards my next when your whole environment just shifts on you all of a sudden and you're in control. Yeah. That's like so much more of a mind fuck, dude. It's like, oh God, what just happened? Like it feels way more like visceral. It's really good. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited for a lot of the games that are going to come out. We're getting a Blade game. We're getting fucking Wolverine. Yeah. Which there was a lot of leaks from that. I didn't see any of the fucking leaks from it, but
I didn't check them out either. I heard apparently like Venom is going to happen too. Like not a full game, but something akin to Miles Morales. Okay. So like a more bite-sized adventure, definitely smaller than like any of the mainline games like Spider-Man 1 or 2. But I mean, it makes sense to me because like they built him as a fully playable character. He has combos. Is it like as deep as the stuff you can do with Miles and Peter? No. But it's enough for them to build off of, I think. Yeah. And the want is there.
I think it's all that you need as, like, people that are fans of Venom. Yeah. Like, when you play as him, it's like, okay, I'm super fucking strong. I can do a bunch of crazy shit. Cool. I'm good. I'm fucking good with that. I don't need to do, like, I don't need all these crazy bells and whistles with Venom. Just, like, make me super strong and make me do crazy shit. And I'm fine.
What I would be interested to see is if that is true and they are making a Venom, like, spin-off game is... what is the mode of traversal going to be? Because like you can go multiple routes, right? You can do like what Ultimate Spider-Man did, which was like, I think the last time Venom was playable, maybe not. But you make him like the Hulk. So he just jumps really far and like can climb on buildings and stuff. But Venom has also swung. He uses webs too. So like you could just make him like a beefier, like heavier pendulum of like a Spider-Man so that it feels different, but it's still the same mechanics that you're used to. Or they could do something completely different. Like, I don't know. Maybe he just maybe you fucking fly through the air with his wings and shit, you know? Like, who knows?
I also think this Venom's different because he's fucking massive.
He is
like,
huge.
He's really fucking big.
He's like 3 or 4 times the size of Spidey and Miles combined. Yeah. Like, he's gigantic. He's like Hulk size. He's huge. Yeah.
I think that's what tripped me out the most. I was like... because, Harry's not, like, a big guy in that game. Yeah. And then when he's, like, full Venom, like, he's just fucking big. And I was like, how does this work? Like, how does this even happen?
I think it's because, like, in general, the Venom symbiote, that's always just been the form of the Venom symbiote. Because, like, even though Eddie Brock is, like, more shredded than Harry Osborn is, he's not as big as Venom is. Like, when he puts the suit on, he still gets, like, huge. Which, like, could just be, maybe it's amplifying the personalities of the character in the comic book, whatever. But that's just how, in my brain, that's how Venom is just supposed to look. He's just supposed to be a big, huge fucking creature. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to see if we're going to get, like, Carnage, like, DLC.
That's what I would hope for. I think, like, a DLC is... probably the best way to do it, because I don't know if like I want to come into Spider-Man 3 and then go back to like a symbiote villain. Yeah. I want something fresh. I want something new if we're going to go for like a full main title game. But also I would be worried if they did just relegate all of like a Carnage thing to a DLC stuff. Because like you can do good things in DLC. Like I think the Spider-Man 1 DLC is really good. But that's a big character. Yeah. To try and tackle in something that you're like adding on to a game rather than like making a whole story around.
I can see Carnage being like, if we're going to do a Venom game that is more bite-sized, I can see Carnage being like a main villain
That'd be cool.
Of that, So
because then you could do the Lethal Protector stuff with Venom and make him the good guy. Like, yeah.
And a lot of like Carnage is tied to Venom, so it's like
he's the literal offspring of him.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be out of place. It'd be like the Venom the Venom 2 movie, basically, but just in a video game.
Which is pretty bad, but also kind of fun.
It's just cool seeing Carnage, Like, I remember like when I was a kid and like Spider-Man 3 came out, and I was like, oh, Venom, Spider-Man 4, where's Spider-Man 4? And like seeing shit like on YouTube, like, oh, Spider-Man 4 is gonna have Carnage, and I was like, and obviously that shit wasn't real, but I didn't fucking know as a kid. And now getting the game and you playing the side mission with fucking
Yuri,
and you get to the end and you figure out that the head of like the fucking fire gang people is fucking Cletus Cassidy. So you're just like, I was like, holy shit, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I will say that like I think they do kind of spoil it a little bit if you like like read all of like the little books and text that's laying around,
Mm-hmm.
because like there's literal images of like a red symbiote,
Mm-hmm.
like in like their I forgot what they call it, but like it's like the prophecy or whatever, right? And that whole thing. And so I was like, okay, they're doing Carnage, and like the dude has red hair, which I'm like, okay, that's Cletus Cassidy for sure. Yeah. But it's still satisfying because whatever actor they got to play that dude is fucking creepy. He's hella scary.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
For sure fits the bill of like a good like serial killer psycho fucking Carnage kind of guy. So I hope they get him back, because they have done a lot of actor switching in the Spider-Man game world. Like they switched the face actor for Peter. Harry got changed between Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. It's not the same guy who like voiced him in the first game. So they do have a history, right, of like kind of putting like a bookmarker of like, okay, we want this person in the game, but maybe we didn't have time to like do the full casting search of who we really want for it. So it might be somebody different. Who knows?
Interesting. Yeah, I hope they keep that guy.
He was good. I liked him a lot.
I would like to think they would keep him because he did so much in the game.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like
story is pretty chunky.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was just like a couple lines here and there. Yeah, like he was like very present in that storyline.
He's like the main villain of that entire side story. Like you come up against him a lot.
Yeah. So I think that would be pretty weird if they like gave this dude like this job. Yeah. Gave him hella lines. Yeah. And like the next game they're like, we're gonna go with someone different.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, they literally switched Peter Parker's face.
Yeah, that fucked me up. I remember I went back and like was playing it on the PS5, and I think I texted you and Diggs, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
It's a hard switch.
Who is this?
I think it is. By the time you play a good couple of hours of Spider-Man 2, it's okay.
Yeah.
Even at the start of Spider-Man 2, I was still kind of like, I've seen this face before because I replayed the remastered one too, but it's still kind of hard.
Yeah.
But then it settles in, and I do think it looks good. Like I think the main problem was that the face model looks like the same age or sometimes like younger than Miles does.
Yeah.
In Spider-Man PS4, and then especially in Miles Morales. But in this one, they did a good job of like making him look like an adult.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this guy is older.
Yeah, he does look like he's in his 20s. Like,
it was just it was shocking for me. Like when I put it on, like I said, I texted you and Diggs, and I was like, who? I was like, this is not my Spider-Man.
No, I still like the old face better. Like if they just next genified the other one, like I don't know why. Apparently, from what I heard, it was a nightmare for the animators because one of the things that you have to do with mocap if you're going to use a different actor's face is like find somebody similar to the face shape of the actual actor, which is like Yuri Lowenthal. And the match, from what they say, the match was just not good. Like it was hell for the development process for them to basically take the performance of like Yuri's face and try to map it over the kid that they had in the first game.
Damn.
And so they made the change because the new guy like has a more similar face shape, so they can just like paste it over it basically. But that seems like a very complicated thing to do. Yeah. It's like, just fuck it. Who cares? Like it's already hard. You have to make a bunch of shit for years anyway.
Yeah. I imagine if I was the dude whose job that was, I'd be pretty fucking pissed. Yeah. I'd be like, okay, like you fucking serious right now? You realize all the shit I have to fucking do now?
Yeah.
Because you just want a different fucking guy's face.
Yeah, we gotta just
when this guy's perfectly fucking fine.
I just went through hell learning how to do this.
This guy's been the face of Spider-Man for I don't know how fucking long. And now all of a sudden, like you want me to change his fucking face.
Time to do it all.
How long was it before they changed? Was it just the remastered version where they changed it?
No, it was Miles.
Miles?
It's on even on the PS4 version of Miles and the PS5 one. It's that it's the new dude's face.
So how long did Miles come out after?
I think like 2 years, because Spider-Man was 2018 and I'm pretty sure Miles was 2020. Because it released with the PlayStation 5. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the release year. It was 2020.
Okay.
It was like one of the mainline launch titles with it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Weird shit. But, I don't understand game development well enough.
No, neither do I.
Yeah, that's the whole...
I just know I want games.
Exactly. And I want them to take their time to make good games. That's what I want. That's it. But yeah, Blade looks good. I saw a bunch of trailers for a bunch of other stuff that I want to check out too. I'm like lukewarm on the DC one, the like Justice League versus the Suicide Squad or whatever.
I think it looks cool.
Yeah, visually it looks great, but like, yeah, I don't know. It seems like an Avengers scenario to me, where like it's gonna be because it's like a live service single player game,
and they've been working on it for a long time.
Yeah.
Like I've been seeing like like trailers and like fucking clips from the fucking game for a long fucking time.
It just got delayed. Like it was supposed to come out like earlier this year. I think in like summer or like right after summer. And it got like a long delay. It's not releasing until like early next year now.
Damn.
Because like, I guess they like play tested it finally and people just like weren't satisfied. So
they're like, this sucks.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like that's scary for a game to be so close and like getting towards their release date. And then all of a sudden for them to be like, no, we need to push it back further. Like this is not working. Like you can't, like if you're that far along, how much can you really change? You know?
Must be so like demoralizing as just like a team, like developing the game and people are like, yeah, I don't like this.
Yeah, like you're working super hard on it. Yeah.
Fuck.
But I mean, that goes to show.
DC is just cursed, bro. Like they
kind of are, but it's weird though because like the Arkham games are really fucking good. The Batman games, right? Top fucking notch. Some of the best superhero games I've ever played in my life. Before Spider-Man came out, those were unarguably the best superhero game that existed. But like, and then like they have animation down. Like animated DC stuff is really cool.
Oh, it's so good. It's top tier.
But like for some reason they just can't fucking make good movies recently. Like not since like before the 2000s basically. And then like the Dark Knight movies, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think hopefully it's just that they haven't had the right people involved who have like the right love for it. I think that's really the problem is that like Marvel got somebody like Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau behind the wheel and they're like passionate about nerdy shit. But DC was always run by like WB executives. So there was nobody there with like the love for like the classic stuff of it, right? Because like even once they got somebody like Zack Snyder, like he was passionate about his vision. But his vision was so different than what people knew of the characters. It was like polarizing, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully, under James Gunn, shit's going to be better because they've said it's going to be games, TV, movie, everything that he's like got a hand in. So
I just always felt like Suicide Squad versus like the Justice League felt kind of just like weird to me because I'm like, how did the Justice League just like not mop the floor with the Suicide Squad,
It's one of the like... I mean, it's like that Stan Lee thing, right? Of like, whoever's writing this like story gets to decide who wins. Like power levels are ridiculous. But when you're lore heads like we are, and you like know the crazy bullshit that Superman has pulled off on like an off day, it's like no fucking way does like every single member of the Suicide Squad ever even stand a chance against Superman alone, let alone the entire Justice League.
The entire Justice League that also is like without a moral compass because they are like
controlled by Brainiac.
Controlled by Brainiac. Yeah. Like there's no way. There's no fucking way.
Did you see the design for Brainiac too?
No, I did not.
He looks weird. It's cool. I think I do like it. It's just shocking because like he reminds me of like a cross of. Have you seen Prometheus? The like prequel to the Aliens movies. Okay.
No.
He reminds me of a more alien looking version of Voldemort. Like if I'm not mistaken, he doesn't have the nose, but it's still Brainiac-ish. So it's kind of funky. But I think I like it. I'm not sure. I
like the way Brainiac looks in like Injustice 2.
Yeah, that's good because like that's still very alien, right? But it also feels classic because he's still just green with like the little purple lines and dots and shit all over his head.
I respect the artistic and creative decision to be like, okay, let's make something a little different. Yeah. But when it's such a stark difference, it's a little hard to digest as a fan,
Yeah, you have to just like, it's one of two things. You either have to come up with an entirely different design that is also iconic, right? Like with like, I would say that's like what the Spider-Man PlayStation series did, is it's like, that was pretty drastically different. Because of how much white was on the suit all of a sudden. But it's iconic in its own right, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Or you have to take the safer road, which is probably boring as a creator, but is fine, and you go the MCU route, which is that you stick pretty faithful to what's in the comic books, but you just modernize it with like lines and athletic wear, basically, right? So, and then people are happy because it's like, okay, I do just want the classic suit, but at least it looks like the classic suit,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard. If you're anywhere in between that, like you're probably going to get a little roasted for the designs.
Yeah. I mean, I like a lot what like Injustice did, I think Injustice did a lot of like, their own takes on like because the Superman costume does not look like your average Superman costume.
Yeah, it's got
you
like
know?
the big like shoulders over the top.
Yeah, and it's like it feels a little bit like bolder and stuff like
yeah.
that. You know, the Batman costume isn't your classic Batman costume and things like that. So,
it's
but it feels classic. Like it feels authentic to Batman and Superman and things like that.
I think the other thing too is it's like it also depends on the context that it's in, because like for me, Injustice gets away with a lot of the character designs for like all of the different armor pieces that they have in there because it's a multiverse story.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that there would be like
slight differences
in all of these different designs and stuff like that, or even drastic ones with some of like the crazier suits. Like you have like the helmets for like Flash and stuff like that, whatever. Yeah. But like I can accept it because it's like, okay, it's a multiverse. Like there could be a bunch of different people from all over the place and stuff.
Very true.
Yeah, it's funky.
Multiverse. Fucking speaking of the multiverse, fucking
Jonathan Majors,
man.
Yep, fired. Gonzo done skis. Got charged. Guilty as charged, man.
Yeah, I think with like harassment and like
assault too, right?
Assault in like the 3rd degree or something, which is fucking nuts, man. I mean, you know, I was a big fan of Jonathan Majors. I think he is a great actor, but it's like, you know, when someone does some shit like this, it's hard to be like, you know, separate art from the artist at that point, you know?
Oh, yeah. And I think it's also just one of those things too that like, for one, takes time, and for two is just that like nowadays, if somebody does something terrible, then they're immediately excommunicated from like being likable, right? Versus like directors back in the day did horrible shit to their actors in order to get a performance, but we still herald them as like some of the greats of all time. So there's like a little bit of hypocrisy in it, I think, where it's like there's I've said this like all along, is there's basically an embargo line. Like 2015, 2016-ish, like when people really started to like nail motherfuckers down, which they should. Let me clarify. Like,
yes,
I think all people should be held accountable, even the older greats. I have arguments with people about this all the time of like, you know, if you're down for the cause, then that extends to history too. You can't just say like, no, but I grew up with this though, so it was okay. It's like, no, it's always been bad. It's just people didn't say anything back then. That's all it is. It's not like things changed. They've been the same. People have been assholes this entire time. People are just being held accountable now. But it's just, I think it depends on person to person. Like, I am not gonna judge you super hard if you still want to go back and watch old Jonathan Majors things, whatever. That is your prerogative. You do what you want. But I think it is good that a person who did a bad thing, even though they have a certain level of stardom, is being held accountable for the bad thing that they did. Yeah. That's important. Like people, Hollywood celebrities, super rich athletes, politicians, whatever they may be, people in power should not be able to get away with stuff just because they are popular or famous. Oh yeah. I also hope this brings up more conversation with like Ezra Miller and stuff like that, because it's like he's getting away. Well, they are getting away with, I think, arguably basically the same, more crimes under their belt too. Yeah. And yeah, only had to go to therapy and like make a public apology, and it's fine. Yeah, and they're still in a major movie. Like they got their own movie. It's also, I feel is important to say that they were really, really quick. Within a year, they charged a black man with the things that they did, and I understand that Ezra Miller identifies, I don't want to say it, man. I don't want to fucking say it. No, I'm going to say it because Ezra Miller, even though they identify as not a man, is a white person. Yes. And is getting away with similar, if not more, crimes too. So it needs to be said. It doesn't forgive the things that Jonathan Majors has done. Again, that's not what I'm trying to say, but I think it is an important detail to keep in mind for the conversation going forward about how we try to come down on these kinds of activities. Exactly. Yeah. Everybody should be held accountable the same way, on the same playing field. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so that news hit the internet yesterday, and yeah, it was pretty nuts because I think it was very quick, and like he got charged, and like you started seeing reports of like Disney was like, oh yep, we're fucking done. Yeah. With this guy, which you know, like we're saying, is good. If I think it's a smart move. Hold people accountable. Yeah. Obviously, it does pose big questions for what they're going to do with their big Marvel franchise, considering that Jonathan Majors was playing King. Yeah. But, you know, that is besides the major point of, you know, major point. That is besides the major point of, like, you know, what actually happened and stuff like that. Yeah, so. Like, it's important to, as much as we do And I think this goes to like, you know, even the things of old, and even like, again, to bring it up of like the great directors who fucking like Hitchcock actually tried to fucking stab what's her name with like a knife. Like that was real, right? Like in the famous Psycho scene. Like I've heard of directors doing crazy shit, like firing real guns on set to put their actors on edge and stuff like that, right? Like maybe they're not technically committing crimes, but they're doing pretty fucked up shit in order to get like the piece of art that they want. And I think at the end of the day, we have to realize like no person should make the decision for somebody else that anything that is wrong, painful, traumatizing is worth it for the art. If you're going to put yourself through some shit for your art, be my guest. Be fucking careful. You shouldn't like make your life hell so that you can make better art or something like that. But like people's own health and safety is more important than making a good movie or making a good song or making a good whatever. Like, yeah.
I think stuff with like movie stars or like, sports stars and stuff is always so like amplified a lot more than the people behind the scenes, like a director or like, like a coach or things like that, is because they are just in the public eye so much. And we like, see them as celebrities or like we like, form these attachments to these people because they might they're face of like these characters that we love or like they're in these movies that we love,
franchises sometimes.
And it's like when something like a Jonathan Majors is like Ezra Miller or stuff like that happens, it's like blown up like 10 times more because of like the like reverence we have for these like actors and stuff like that, so
definitely.
But yeah, it's pretty bad. It's sad that these things happened, but thoughts and prayers to everybody involved, all the victims involved and stuff like that.
Hope there's like a little bit of justice that feels achieved, you never know though.
But we are a movie podcast, so we do have to talk about
some movies,
some movie stuff, and like implications on what this could mean for Marvel.
I was gonna say, to make it on a lighter note, it is as horrible as the news is. It's like interesting now that we are in this position, because it's like, what are they gonna do? Like, where do they go from here? Obviously, there's options. Like, I think I am not opposed to the idea of just recasting somebody as Kang, because we are dealing with the multiverse at this point. And like, yes, they've shown us that like Jonathan Majors played all of the Kangs at the end of Ant-Man or whatever, but they've retconned crazier shit before. They literally changed the actor that played Rhodey. And didn't say anything about it. Like, Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard are the same person in the Marvel universe. So it's fine. I don't think it's a big deal. But there is also the question of, do they just switch the character? Because I would also not be opposed if they just go to Doom now.
I really would not be opposed.
I want Doom. I'm okay with that. So, either way, whatever they do, I'm sure it's going to be the best that they can given the circumstances.
I think it would just be easier to recast than to be like, let's just put a whole different villain behind it all, just like when you're doing that, it just gets too much of like, well, what was Doom doing this whole fucking time of blah, 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 because you got to just be like, oh, Doom was actually behind this all along.
Just put him in a different multiverse. And just be like, oh, he was been pulling the strings from another universe,
But yeah, I would like to see, like, if they're going to recast, let's get another fucking, someone like a Lakeith Stanfield or like a freaking,
it could be cool,
like what's his name? Damon Idris, freaking.
Oh, Idris Elba?
No, not Idris Elba.
Who?
There's, I forget what movies he's in, but he's another really good actor.
I'm pretty sure it was just like a fan thing. I don't think I even saw like rumor or leak or anything like that. But I saw somebody do like a Photoshop of an older looking King played by Denzel Washington.
Ooh, I could be down.
Don't think you would be able to get Denzel to do a Marvel movie, but if you did, I would also be down. I think that'd be very cool.
You could even do John David Washington.
You could. That's true. Yeah,
that'd be fucking nice.
Yeah.
I would say John Boyega as well, but I don't think he's down to come back and work for Disney, so probably not.
I wonder too if
I think John Boyega would be really fucking good.
He could be good. The other thing too that I wonder is that like if I'm not mistaken, Kang is an alien in the comic books and does not have like like a racial ethnicity, because we are just naming black actors right now because that's who they cast as Jonathan Majors. Whether they want to continue to stay within that realm or do something else, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I do think it is kind of foolish to think that they don't already have a plan. Like, the allegations came up probably like a year ago at this point.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So there's no fucking way they didn't start coming up with a contingency plan just in case this happened, right? Like, I'm sure they already have a plan B that was ready to go given this happening, especially with how quickly they fired him. Like, I have a hard time believing they don't already have something in motion. So
yeah, probably.
We're speculating at what I assume does have an answer at this point.
I would agree.
At least something close to it.
I would agree. Yeah.
I've heard Cillian Murphy is Doom, and I'd be down for that.
Dude, I'd be so fucking down.
But again, I don't think he's an actor that you'd probably be able to get to do a Marvel movie.
Nah, I don't.
They would have to write Doom as like one of the greatest on-screen villains of all time.
Yeah, he is one of those actors that is just like, yeah, if the script's right, like, I'd probably be down. Yeah. But it's like, it has to be like the right script. Like, when they say, yeah, it has to be the right script, like, it better be damn fucking good.
Yeah.
And you're not just going to give him like an average script and they'll be like, oh, okay, you know.
Yeah.
Granted, there are probably like there is like, do you see that report of like Ethan Hawke was like, yeah, I'd be down to do a fucking Star Wars movie. Like, give me a fucking, make me a good guy, make me a bad guy. I don't fucking care. Like, I'd be down. There are those actors that are like that, probably have those franchises that like, they don't care. Like, they love them. Like, at the end of the day, they're humans like you and me.
They just want to be in it.
Yeah. So if like Ethan Hawke loves Star Wars that much, he doesn't fucking care. Like, put him in the Star Wars world, you know? And there might be actors like that too that are like, fuck, I love Marvel so much that I don't care. I'll be whoever you want to
make
want
me
to
cameo
fucking be.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, just put me next to anything Marvel and I'm fucking down.
Yeah.
Would you like another Twisted Tea, sir?
I'm down, yeah. Yeah, I think there's something to be respected about both camps too, right? Because it's like, it's nice to know that there are artists out there who are doing the work for the sake of like trying to put good work out there, so to speak, you know? Yeah. But it's also cool that there's just, like you said, like people who are closer to like what we relate to of like, dude, no, I just want to be around a fucking blaster, or I just want to be around superpowers. Like, it's nice to know that there's both in Hollywood to a certain extent and a spectrum in between. But
and I also love it. Like, I think that's why we just love Ethan Hawke so much. Like, he was probably
he seems down, bro. Yeah, he seems like a down ass dude. He seems chill. Sorry, cheers.
He is a down ass dude because I'm pretty sure he is like directing like a movie or he has something to do with a movie where his daughter's also in it. And I'm pretty sure he's directing a movie that his daughter's in, and his daughter hella has like a sex scene, you know?
Oh, crazy.
And so he's just like, yep, I'm her dad and I'm directing her sex scene.
It's like he's in it for the art, man.
He's just a down ass fucking dude.
And he was in Marvel too already. I forgot. He's the bad guy in Moon Knight.
Oh yeah,
he's already in there. Yeah, I forget his name, but
he fucking died. We didn't even get to see the fucking fight between him and fucking. Oh god damn it! I hate the director being just like, oh, it was like an artistic. Shut up.
It
Shut
was.
your mouth. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I didn't agree with it.
We don't have to get
understand.
into it now.
Like I understand.
Yeah.
But no, sorry, it wasn't for me.
There you go.
Not
That's
for me.
all it is. You know, that's all you can ask for. I think as an artist, it's like as long as people understand, you don't have to like it. But if you get where they're coming from, then I think that's what's important.
Yeah, I guess.
I think
guess, man.
That show, to me, as much as I do enjoy it, made the mistake of like trying to walk the line a little too hard between action and like psychological thriller. Because that finale works well for a psychological thriller. But we also had crazy action sequences of Moon Knight like chasing a fucking wolf across like London skyscrapers and stuff. So then you just come to expect a certain level of action when it comes to resolving issues.
Yeah, and there was also a lot of like, you know, beforehand, like, oh, this is like the most violent Marvel show like ever.
I mean, it was up until that point. We're not there anymore, I don't think, but it certainly was up to that point, I would say.
It was like violent, but I feel like a lot of like the violence, quote unquote violence, was like never like seen, you know? Like maybe I gotta go back and watch it, but like I feel like there was like a lot of times
the circus fight. That one's pretty intense.
Well, yeah, there's that.
He's like stabbing fools and breaking arms and stuff.
But it's like for you to be like, this is the most violent, like we're pushing the boundaries of like blah blah blah. Like it felt very not the most violent and not.
I think you also have to take it within the context of Disney though, right? Because I think when you say that in comparison to all of the like ultra violent things that are out there, like compared to something like John Wick or like even crazier something like Kill Bill, it's kitty baby shit. Like it looks like nothing, right? But if you take it within the context of like the MCU up until that point, I think it was a like fairly drastic difference from like all of the heroes dealing with their problems like relatively heroically. The most intense thing that I can think of before that is like in Iron Man 3, Tony straight blasts a dude through the chest with his unibeam.
Yeah.
And like kills him. But other than that, like they're pretty just like they're strong and they're like punching people across the room. But you don't see arms break. You don't really see people get stabbed unless it's like a dramatic moment of the hero getting shanked or something like that, you know? So like again, within the context of Marvel, I agree with what they're saying, but in the wider world of violent movies and violent media, it's kiddie. It's not pushing the boundaries that hard for sure.
The trailer for Echo looks more violent than the whole series of freaking Moon
Yeah,
Knight.
But I mean that's also coming out after. So,
yeah,
you know, you can't compare it to that from before.
That's true.
That's like 2 years old at this point.
Yeah, I just don't want them to I don't want them to promise me things before I actually see them. You know, I don't want them to be like, let me make that decision of like, holy shit, this is the most violent thing we've ever seen in Marvel. Don't give me don't set me up with these I don't know what I'm trying to say, but don't set me up with like visions beforehand.
Yeah.
And then it not live up to that.
Well,
you know?
What's unfortunate is I think that's just part of the Hollywood machine.
It's like if I'm like, dude, this is the funniest joke you've ever fucking heard in your life.
Yeah,
and I like
it's
say
gonna be hard
this,
to live up to that.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. It's like that's the unfortunate part about growing so like attached and excited about like things. Hi.
Christmas shopping.
Oh, dude, I'm so behind. I need to do that.
I hope that's mine.
Uh-oh. She got me a present though, not you.
It's all good. I got her gift already.
Oh, dang.
I finished my Christmas shopping, man. I finised all my Christmas
Good.
shopping.
Just ask
Hey,
him
I knew
right now.
I knew what to get you. That's all I'm saying. So.
Damn.
No, I'm fucking around.
But yeah, like unfortunately, I think that's part of the Hollywood machine more than it is like the creative process, which is like people have to market their movies and they sit in interview circuits all day long and they have to say something about it. Cause like I remember watching like a long interview on IGN with Brian Intihar, who's the creative director of Spider-Man, saying like, I didn't want to show or say anything. I wanted people to just go into the game with zero expectations. Like they knew what they knew from the previous ones, but I wanted them to go into this without knowing that there was a symbiote, knowing that Venom was nothing, right? Like I think creatively people want that, but because you have to have like a certain like amount of money basically and like a studio backing you to do that stuff, then they have certain requirements too, which is like you have to put out trailers, you have to put out headlines, you have to say this, you have to say that, and it just muddles the process. It's unfortunate. Because I would imagine that the creators of the show don't want to fuck with your expectations.
Yeah.
They probably want you to just watch it and, like you said, feel what you feel about it. But it's Disney, so
that's true.
They're not going to let you get away with that. They're going to fucking make a trailer that's going to fool you and be the exact opposite of what it's actually about or some bullshit like that, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's fucking true.
So it's hard. It's just, it's difficult. That's just one of the things that I've been trying to do recently, which is like, I don't want to... Because I noticed this when the strike started happening recently and are thankfully ended now, which is like, it's kind of a weird disconnect to me of how hard we fight for the writers, but then how easily we go back to shitting on the stuff that those very same writers are creating because we didn't like it.
That's true.
And that's what made me split the difference in my head, which is like, okay, wait, what I don't like is studio interference in the creative work. So I'm going to do my best to stop putting this on the writers or the creators, the directors, and realize like they are probably not able to work in the way that not only we would like them to, but also they would like to, because they're dealing with a giant fucking money conglomerate like Disney.
Very true.
So it's weird. It's hard. Again, that's kind of like the only money that can produce this stuff and not make it look like a cheesy 2000s movie, right? And even then, sometimes it does. But then it comes with its caveats of having to deal with the industry side of stuff too.
The fucking industry, man.
It's fucking bummer, man.
Fuck the industry, man.
Just make movies for free. And just let me watch them for free.
Like, if only, dude. If only like movies could be made for free.
It'd be awesome. Like, you know, they technically can.
What'd you get him?
Ooh.
Don't worry, you can show. He's not gonna. Ooh, nice.
Those are clean.
Nice.
Yeah. What size do your dad wear?
I could probably fit in those.
I know. That's what I was thinking, man. Yeah. But, you know, it is what it is.
I think this is like the first. Is this the first year you like getting everyone gifts? Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouts out.
Yeah,
shouts
that's
out.
good.
It's a big year.
It's adult Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I made that comment this year of like, oh, this is the first year Haley's getting everybody gifts.
There you go. That's what usually makes a difference right there.
Shouts out.
Yeah.
Shouts out. Good for you.
You start earning money and the family starts adding you in the Secret Santa. You're like, oh shit, no, I got to get somebody something.
Granted, I will say I'm not like the greatest at getting gifts.
Me neither. I'm bad.
I try. I try.
You know,
I like to get things that I think are useful. I like to get things that I think people will get a use out of.
Okay,
you know?
That's nice. Yeah, I don't do that. I get things that I think people will just like. Like I'm one thing that I wish I was better about is it's like I have a pretty bad memory. We've talked about this before, and I respect people who are able to like remember something that like I brought up in a conversation like 6 months ago that like I said I wanted or that I thought I liked, and they're like, yeah, you mentioned you liked this thing and I got this for you. I'm like, I don't even remember saying that. Holy shit, like that, you're so thoughtful. Like you realize that I said I like this thing and you think, that'd make a good gift for somebody, you know? Like mad respect to people whose love language is like gift giving and they're like really good at that shit, because I do struggle with it. I have a hard time. I get so anxious. I mean,
yeah, I have a bad memory too, but I think I'm also bad at like realizing those moments, like when someone's like, oh my God, like I like this. Yeah. Of like the light bulb clicking in my head and being like, oh, that could be a gift.
Yeah.
Write that down. Or just like take a mental note of it. I'm just like, oh yeah, nice.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's great.
Awesome.
You just continue the conversation.
Yeah. I support your wanting of this object.
Yeah, totally. No, yeah, seriously. It's
buy it. Go buy it. I support it.
Yeah. You should get that, dude. Yeah, you should totally buy that.
Oh, how much is it? Yeah, fucking buy it.
Get it, dude. Yeah, that's within your budget. No, yeah, totally. But it is a superpower, man. Some people are really good at that shit.
I feel like there are some years I do better than others.
Definitely, yeah.
We'll see this year. I do think the gifts I got are a lot more simple this year.
That's okay.
Not that I ever go like super extravagant. Not that I'm ever like super complicated with the gifts or like there's 3 parts to this gift.
Yeah.
Or like, you know.
Yeah.
But again, like I try to like I like to get shit that's like useful.
I think that's my issue is that like I put a lot more expectation on myself of like what I think people would expect. And so I'm like, oh my God, I have to get them the perfect gift. Like I have to find them something that they're going to love so much. And the things that I usually end up getting, I feel like I'm going to let them down, right? I'm like, oh, I had to, you know, bring the idea down a little bit or had to go with something else. And then they end up loving it anyways.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I need to remember the classic cheesy thing of like, it's the thought that counts. It's not like getting somebody useful. It's something, or getting somebody something useful is great, or getting something that they've wanted for a long time is fantastic. But at the end of the day, like it shouldn't be about like the material thing, right?
Yeah.
It's just that we all love each other enough to like want to get each other shit.
Yeah. Like I would love to get my sister like AirPod Pros for Christmas.
Yeah, sure.
But those are like $250.
That's a big budget. That's like the budget for like 2 or 3 people right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like of gifts that I'm going to get for somebody. Yeah.
But I'll get AirPod Pros for myself.
100%.
Like
because you'll splurge on yourself. Yeah. Sometimes you got to spoil yourself, you know?
Yeah.
I
do remember when I got my AirPod Pros. I think I was having like a bad like month or whatever, like a bad couple months. And I was just like, I'm going to get these for myself.
Deserve a little treat.
I'm going to get these for myself.
Yeah.
And I fucking enjoyed them. They didn't last. I mean, I feel like they didn't last like super long, as long as I would like them to last. Yeah. But I guess that's the price you pay for getting like Apple products or just like any higher end, quote unquote higher end product. Is
they
like,
have a shorter shelf or life expectancy because they're constantly updating and getting outdated and all that bullshit or whatever.
Or they just want you to fucking buy more of their shit.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, because I mean,
we're not gonna make this the best quality, so it can fucking break, and then you could just give us more money by fucking buying
the new version. I know. I saw this funny post that was like, the year is 2063. The Apple car has like taken the market by storm and everybody is in the self-driving Apple cars. next year hits and the Apple Car 2 comes out, your car immediately drops to 25 miles an hour. Like the whole like the your old stuff gets slower all of a sudden and shit. It's like it's true though, man. Like that they really do kind of ask you out and to a certain extent like force you. Here, knock. Or was it just like
I don't know.
That seemed like
a
knock tone, bro. That sounded like it
but
came
I don't
from the
know.
door.
I don't think it was a knock from that door though, because that door, like when you knock on it, it's pretty loud.
You can hear
when you
it.
knock
Yeah,
on
that's
it,
true.
you know?
That was a little subtle. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't question if someone knocked on that door.
Just like, hey, what's up?
You know,
What are you guys doing in there?
hey, what's up, man? I heard you guys talking in there. Can I join?
Hey, are you guys making a podcast? I've always wanted to be on a podcast.
Just some dude down the street.
Just some random, yeah. It's like, I heard you guys laughing from down the street. It sounded like there was joy and festivity over here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to come check it out.
Yeah, it kind of sounded like the way you guys were talking. It kind of sounded like a podcast. So I just wanted to come check it out.
I don't know. I just wanted to see what it was all about.
Dude, I don't fucking know, dude. I don't fucking know.
You know, it happens sometimes. I hear shit in my house too.
Did you hear about like the creepy shit that was happening at the store with the speaker? You know how there's the Amazon, like the Alexa speaker in there?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think so.
So there was fucking one day, Nick and I were taking an order, and I was playing music on my phone. I was playing some Larry June, and we were talking shit. I was talking to Nick, and we were talking to the fucking driver, blah, 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 whatever. And then all of a sudden, I noticed like my music like turned off.
Okay.
And I was like, huh, that's weird. And I like pulled out my phone to like look.
Yeah.
And I was like disconnected from like the speaker. And I was like, this is fucking weird. And then all of a sudden I heard a fucking like coming from the speaker. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I started thinking like, okay, maybe Nick like, because he connects to the speaker like in the morning. So maybe
it's like kicked it off. Or
maybe
something.
It kicked me off, put his on, and maybe like he set like, because he sets alarms when like he has to send people to break. So I was like, maybe that's just a fucking weird alarm.
It's his alarm, yeah.
But then, so you remember that scene in The Exorcist when the priest, what's his name? Fucking
the old one or the young one?
The younger one.
Okay.
Remember when he goes in to see the girl and she's already all possessed, and he like puts the holy water on her, and she starts like talking in like tongues and stuff like that. I heard that shit coming from the speaker.
No
and
way.
I was
That's
like,
creepy, dude.
I was like, what? And I went over and I started like turning it down because I was like, this is fucking creepy. And when I'm turning it down, all of a sudden I heard like I'm watching you, and I was like, oh hell no. And I like turned that off.
Yeah.
And apparently like freaking they've heard it at night a couple times too.
That's crazy.
And they're like, no, we've had to like unplug it because like we're like, no, we don't fuck with that
that's
shit.
That's freaky, dude. Hell no.
But yeah, I was
creepy.
Like,
no thanks. Honestly though, I know I hadn't heard that yet, but it doesn't surprise me very much because like there had already been, even over like the few years that I was there had already been creepy shit happening. Like on the cameras or like, you know, when people had left and stuff like that and like hearing noises. So it doesn't surprise me that there's creepy shit going on there. There's something happening over at the shop, man.
It's with the speaker too, because I like someone told me that even like the security, like at night sometimes, like it'll just like turn on, like it'll start playing shit.
Yeah.
And like they're not connected to it. None of us are fucking there, so there's no reason why it should just start playing shit.
Yeah. Random.
But yeah, it was like the weird thing about like what I heard, what me and Nick heard on the speaker, it was like it almost like sounded too much of like someone being like, oh, I'm gonna play this on here. I'm
gonna mess with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess with them. You know, it sounded like that.
Yeah.
But
I wonder, this is like a super random ass like theory, but like I wonder if like subconsciously like Amazon is trying to like put the fear of AI taking over, and like just randomly they'll like send these creepy fucking like things through their products and stuff, and they're just like, be afraid.
I don't fucking know, dude.
It's like just like Amazon, it's like a marketing like strategy for Amazon or something.
They're like, have you watched the movie The Creator?
Yeah, because I mean like hearing I'm watching you from a speaker is creepy enough already. It's even creepier when it's an Alexa speaker, right? Because it's like that's already something that like you're afraid of like watching you or like listening to you or something like that. So it's like, nope, no thank you. You go bye now. I get rid of you. Alexa speakers can't be that expensive for the amount of coming through there, man. Just fucking throw that one away and get a new one. See what
Granted,
happens.
I've only heard it that one time. So it was that only that one time that I've heard it. It's not been like a reoccurring thing.
Yeah.
Haven't like experienced anything at home or anything like that.
See,
so
that's the problem of all horror movies right there, dude. Is as soon as the first time happens, nope, gone. Fuck that thing. Get rid of it. Who cares? Like, that's what always happens. Like, that was weird. Never heard that before. I guess I'll just leave this in my basement or leave this in my attic or whatever, you know? It's never like, nah, let's throw this thing away. Fuck that. I don't need this anymore. Bye-bye. That's what I would do, man. If I ever heard anything crazy like that coming out of anything in my room, it could be the most treasured and beloved possession that I have. Like, if my freaking lightsaber like started making creepy noises and stuff, or like turning on in the middle of the night, I'd be like, I'm gonna buy another one. This one's gone.
I get it. But again, it's just one of those things where you just don't know. Like, I just don't know. Like, was someone fucking with me? Was someone not fucking? Like, I've asked so many fucking people.
Like, were you messing around?
Yeah, and everyone's just like, no. But I'm just like, I just feel like, you know, I just feel like someone's like fucking around.
I'll take the embarrassment of being like, wow, you fucking threw that thing away. You're so dumb. I was just fucking with you, over like taking the chance of like, maybe it actually is something fucking with you.
Nah, see, like, I want to be right, bro. Like, I think that's the thing that's the difference between you and I.
No, I know what's going on.
I want to be right, bro. Like, that's the problem that I have a lot, is I just want to be right.
I do too. I get that way about arguments. Like, when it comes to other stuff, I can be okay with it. But like, if I'm locked in an argument with somebody, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ham.
But like, because like, I don't know, like at work, like when I tell Des about it, like there's a certain way she acts when we're talking about it.
Makes you think she might have done.
Where I'm just like, you fucking did something.
You know something.
And that was like me. Like it was like last week. Like I was talking about it, and she just had like, I don't know if she was just like laughing or like something, like not like laughing out loud, but just kind of sitting there like.
You also just can't take anything that happens at that shop, especially in the back, seriously, because there is so much hooliganery and fooling around this, and
it's just so weird though, because at the time it happened, the only people that actually have like that connect to that speaker were me and Nick.
Yeah,
I was connected to it,
and then he was earlier that morning.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing anything. Yeah. The security guards weren't fucking playing anything. Yeah. I texted Danielle. She was like, "No, I didn't have anything to fucking do with it." Yeah. So I was just like,
"This is weird, man. This is weird, but it could be messing around too. Who knows?" Thanks, mate. Who knows?
Well, yeah, again. Before we get into the movies, I do want to say, that I did get to go and watch her play this week.
Oh yeah, did you enjoy yourself?
It was fucking great, man. I did enjoy myself a lot. It was really fucking awesome. Thank you again for being able to get me in.
Yeah, because we had to do some last minute solutions, but it worked out though.
Because I was just gonna buy a ticket too, and I looked on there and they were all sold out.
Gone,
I was
bro.
Like, fuck, dude. I was sitting there at work like, fuck, man. I was telling Buddy, I was just like, fuck, dude. Fuck, I told Danny I was gonna go see his play. I fucking haven't. Fuck, dude. And this is the last weekend. Fuck. And then you text me after work and you're like, hey, I got a like solution if you're down.
Yeah.
And that was for me to go usher.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck it. I'm fucking down. Let's fucking do it. I was like, all right, let's fucking do it.
Why
I'm down.
Not?
Yeah. And so, yeah, I went. This was my first time. I've been coming to San Juan for 26 years.
Yeah.
I've lived in San Juan for about 10 years. This was my first ever time stepping foot into
the Teatro
Campesino.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it was cool. It was awesome.
I'm glad you liked it. Yeah.
It was really nice. I loved like all the history that was posted up in there. Yeah, it was just weird because it's a building that I've always passed by.
Yeah.
And never really like put much thought into like, what's going on?
Yeah,
like what's going on in there? I don't even think I've set foot in the fucking parking lot.
Yeah, sure.
Of
probably,
that place.
Yeah,
but I went in. It was fucking great. I loved the setup. Like, I loved the stage being in the middle and the seating being around. Because, like, I've seen plays before, but it's like your standard play. You have your stadium seating.
Yeah.
Or, like, your regular theater seating, and, like, the stage is in front, and everything is just right in front of you. Whereas like this is definitely,
it's called theater in the round.
Yeah. So it's, you know, it's very fucking.
It's like a 360 view of the stage, basically.
Yeah, 360 view. Yeah. It's very fucking, what's the word? Interactive. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The you know, all the freaking actors and everything are
moving around the whole space.
Moving around the whole space, going into the crowd, doing all this stuff, and I thought it was really great. It was in Spanish, so I obviously didn't understand what was being said. But from like how they were acting and what I could very much pick up what was going on.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. The story's pretty straightforward.
Jesus was born.
Yeah.
These people were going to go on their way to Bethlehem to see Jesus.
Devils are trying to stop him.
The devils are trying to stop him.
Angels are trying to help him.
Angels are trying to help. It's your classic battle of good versus evil.
Yeah, exactly.
Dealing with, you know, a lot of like subjects within like Catholicism or Christianity and like the ideas of like temptation and things like that, most you know. And I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a really good play. I thought the music was really fucking good.
Thank you.
Know?
Thank you very much.
And yeah, it was like, I was also like, when I was watching it, I was like, this is such a cool thing to watch because not only is this like a small like theater like group getting together and putting this on, but it feels very like it's rooted in like a lot of culture, which I think is really great. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like we tend to lose, like we tend to not think anymore of like plays or like theater being like it is a very like primitive and ancient way to tell stories. Definitely, you know, it's shit that's been going on for forever,
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
And like seeing something like that is rooted in like Mexican and like Latino culture is, I thought was really great because I think, especially nowadays, I think we associate like the theater and stuff like that with fucking white people. Yeah. You know, like Broadway. Yep. Bunch of white people.
It's always been inaccessible.
Yeah. And like to see something like that where you have a lot of people who are Mexican, Latino, Latina, all that coming together and putting on this play that, you know, they're speaking Spanish. They're not pandering to an audience.
White audience.
Yeah. They're like, hey, this is what we're about and this is the story we're going to tell, and we're going to tell it how we tell it. I thought it was fucking great. Yeah. So it's nice seeing stuff like that. Because again, I like theater is something that is probably like very gentrified here in like the United States. Oh yeah. You know, and like it's very rare, at least for me, seeing like a group of, you know, people of Mexican descent, you know, people who are Latina getting together and putting on like plays and doing things like that. You know, definitely. You always see like if someone's going to be Mexican, they're always in the mix with all the white people doing the fucking plays and stuff like that.
Totally. Yeah.
It's never like, here's my, you know, family, here's my, you know, people, and we're getting together and put on this play. So I thought that was really fucking cool. It was really great. Really great play. I thought all the actors were really fucking good. Like, it always amazes me going to see a play and seeing how like deep they fucking get into it, because you have to, like,
you have to be you're on the whole time.
Yeah, your like people are right in front of you watching this shit. Like, you have to be on your shit
even
every
if you
single
don't have
time.
Lines, or even if you're just off to the side, you still have to be acting. Yeah, somebody's gonna look over and see you.
Yeah, someone's gonna be like, oh, that fool's not doing anything, while the rest of the people in the background are fucking doing something. You know. And yeah, I thought it was fucking awesome. I thought everyone was great. It was a great experience. Again, I'm very thankful that I was able to go see it. And yeah, man, it was fucking awesome.
Thanks,
I have nothing but good things to say about it.
Thank you.
I might be a little biased, but it's all good.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very glad that you liked it, because that process and those Christmas shows in particular, and then just the teatro in general, are very near and dear to my heart and very important to the formative aspects of my artistry and whatnot. So I'm glad that you finally got to check it out and be exposed to some of it, because like that's where I come from, man. Like that's for sure, like just a lot of like the formative years for me, you know, when I was basically, I started doing them when I was like 11. So at this point now it's like 15 years of them. I mean, we had the COVID break and whatnot, but yeah, so I'm glad you got to come, and I'm glad you had a good time. I was like nervous when both you and Ev came to see it, because like anybody else that, you know, I had invited to come and see it or whatever was like either they had seen me in the plays before, or they had done them themselves, or whatever it was. They were like part of the like family, so to speak. And so I was nervous about like inviting like what I consider to be like my new extended family into that world of stuff. Oh yeah, brother, I love you, dude. But like So I was nervous. I was like, damn, how are they gonna respond to this? Like, are we cheesy as fuck? Is this like really whatever? Is this that? Like, those thoughts got into my head, and like that hasn't really happened to me in a long time. So it was nice energy to like play with though, because I think for a little while, like the break is as weird as it sounds, like the break that we did have and like the quarantine and stuff that COVID happened, like I think in a certain way to try to find like a silver lining of it was beneficial for like my performance like approach, because I think for a long time I had grown like a little numb to like the nervous energy. But like that's good stuff for you to have. Like you should be nervous about the things that you're doing, because
it keeps you like, okay, hey, I'm feeling a certain type of way, I gotta be on my shit tonight.
Keeps you humble, means that you love what you're doing and you want to do a good job of it. So like it was it's nice to like have that energy back in there and like be able to use that and like try to ride that a little bit. And again, it means a lot to have like, you guys connect to like such an important part of my life too. So
well, yeah, man, it's great. And I'm all about supporting your friends and what they enjoy doing, right? Like like friendship is more than just like, hey man, let's sit down and like smoke a joint and like not talk about anything other than like, oh, this weed's fucking cool. And granted, if you do that and that's what you and your friends are about,
cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
But I also think friendship goes like beyond that, and like you got to show support for your friends in whatever they fucking do. Like maybe you don't agree with it, but it's like if they're your friends and you really, value the friendship and show like that, you go and show your support.
You give it a chance. You give it a shot.
Especially with like stuff that is like creative based.
Sure.
Because as creatives, right? Like I think it means a lot to get the support from people that are closest to you. Yeah. Right? Because it's like I could give a shit about what, like you're saying, like the random people that come and see, because it's like I don't ever get to see them. Like what does it fucking matter?
They're gone after that.
Yeah, but it's like the people that you sit down to and talk to like all the fucking time. It's like fuck. Like you want the support from them because that support means the most.
Those are the people that mean the most to you. Yeah.
And so it's like I'm big on like, hey man, if your friends are doing something, support that. Go fucking check it out.
Yeah, totally.
Whether it's like reposting something that they did or like
totally.
something like just or going to a show or anything like that. Like it's important that you show that support.
Definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was a good time. The only time I was fucking nervous was like, I'm ushering. My job is like, if people need to go to the bathroom, I got to show them to the fucking bathroom. Yeah. In the beginning, I don't know. I forgot what her name was. You definitely introduced me to her.
Her name was Liz. Yeah.
Liz. Okay.
Announcer, right?
I'm so fucking bad at names. She was like, giving her whole spiel on the play, like, no phones, be respectful, blah, blah, blah. All the cast is going to be around, so be very mindful. Like, if you do got to go to the bathroom, I'm like, hey, if you do got to go to the bathroom, we have some lovely volunteers that are ushers for tonight that know exactly the right moments to go in the play. And I was standing there and I was like, this is my first time ever seeing this play. I do not know the right moment when to go to the bathroom, when to not go to the bathroom.
Dude, I was sitting there and like, that's always like, that's the most anxious time for me. Like my legs going a million miles per hour. So I'm like, let's just start. Let's go. And I heard that and I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh no. It's like, it's fine. Nobody's probably going to go to the bathroom over there. It'll be okay.
Yeah. Luckily, Noah did have to go to the bathroom. Nice. So I got off scot-free.
So you did get to just sit and watch the whole thing then? You didn't have to move at all? Nope. Okay, good. I'm glad. Yeah, cool. That was my hope, is that like a lot of the times people are pretty good. It's not a very long show. It's not even long enough to warrant like an intermission. I think it's like 80 minutes altogether, maybe even a little less.
I'd say if anything, it's like 77 minutes.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, our average run time that we were hitting most of the time was an hour 19. Okay. So it's like right around an hour and 20 minutes, just before it gets like, it's like a Disney animated movie,
If you can't hold your piss for 80 minutes, I don't know what to tell you. You got to go to the doctor.
Bad. Yeah, I know. Well, shit, I might have to go to the doctor because I got to go to the bathroom.
We've been doing this for an hour and a half.
Okay, so that's slightly over 80.
Yeah,
about
exactly.
10 minutes past the line.
Yeah, you finish. The play's finished. You're good to go to the fucking bathroom.
All right, cool. All right. You going to start introducing our movies?
We did. I might tell like the rest of this little story. Like the only other story I have of this is like, so I was sitting there, they do have the bar, and beforehand you're like, oh, do you want a drink? And I was like, I'm all right. But then I got to my post, right, and I was sitting there, and I saw all the people walking in with drinks. I'm like, damn, a drink would be fucking nice. And I was standing there, and I was like, fuck, I want a drink, but is it going to look the best if the person that's volunteering to be the usher is standing there with the drink, And I was like, fuck, that's probably not the best idea, so I'm just going to have to tough it out, No drink for this shit. And then I look across and there's another lady that's volunteering that literally has a volunteer like fucking badge on, and she has a margarita. And I was like, fuck this. I was like, I'm gonna go get a margarita. So that's what I did. I got a margarita and I sat down and I enjoyed the show, and it was fucking great. It was fucking great. But yeah, guys, if you do live in the San Benito County or adjacent counties close to San Benito, and you want to go see a play at the Teatro Campesino, check them out online, see when their plays are going up, because it is a great experience. Like I was saying before, like stuff like theater and plays and stuff like that is such an ancient way of telling stories, and I feel like it gets lost, especially like nowadays with like stereotypes of like, oh, theater kids are nerdy and theater's blah blah blah. I'm like, no, like it's like people are putting themselves out there, to do something that they enjoy, but also for your enjoyment as well. And I think it's important to, just go out and support that. Again, if plays aren't your thing, then you don't got to go fucking watch a play. But, check it out. I think you might surprise yourself. I definitely surprised myself because I never considered myself much of a play person until I saw, I think it's In the Heights, or it was a play that got turned into a movie. It was a Lin-Manuel Miranda production, but I remember going to go see that at Santa Clara University. I think it was like at the end of my sophomore year of high school. Saw it with my buddy Nico and his parents, and that play was really fucking good. Another play that is rooted in like, a lot of different cultures, but like, yeah, plays are fucking awesome. Go and check them out, and I think you might fucking surprise yourself.
Dude, I have fucking greatest shit ever right now. Like before we leave the plays and stuff like that, a big reason why those plays do stuff is because my grandpa and his brother, my Tío Luis, right? Mm-hmm. And they're fantastic, awesome people for being activists and Chicano artists and stuff like that, and I love them for that, and I think that's fantastic. But I love my grandpa even more because he just called me a little bit ago when we were recording, and I didn't answer. And I went to the bathroom right now, and he happened to call me at the same time. And he was like, how's your podcast? And I was like, yeah, it's good, but I'm still doing it. I'm just in the bathroom. And he's like, oh, okay, I don't want to bother you. He's like, I just wanted to call you to tell you Percy Jackson's coming out tonight. And I was like, God damn it, I fucking love you, Grampy. He's like, yeah, the first episode's coming out. I was like, did you watch it? He's like, no, it's not out yet, but I'm going to watch it. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I'll probably fucking watch it after this.
Yeah, I'm down, dude. I'm very excited for it, yeah.
Because, like, yeah, I think Percy Jackson. I mean, I'm always down for, like, Greek mythology.
Me too.
I was always down for that in school.
I'm a sucker for it, dude, yeah.
So... yeah, and
like
I mean, I didn't like when the
mythology.
movies came out. Like, I didn't hate them. Like, I remember like watching them, being like, okay, these are enjoyable. But I mean, I go back and watch them now, and I'm like, okay, these aren't like the best.
No, and then you can especially nitpick them much more too. In like, Harry Potter gets away with it a lot because they are faithful adaptations of the books. Mm-hmm. Percy Jackson, not so much. Yeah, like they didn't do a super good job of hitting all the...
And it's just a very, like, stereotypical of the times, like
YA novel movie casting.
You know, like, oh, who is a big, young, like, star? Yeah. Oh, Logan Lerman? Yeah. Cool. Let's Percy
find
Jackson.
A book series that he can do. Yeah.
Who's a very attractive co-star that can be opposite of him? I forget her name is, but they're like, cool. Let's get her.
I think her name is Alexandra Daddario.
Yes. Alexandra Daddario.
She's actually still around. I mean, Logan Lerman is too, but he does less projects.
He's more low key for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, she's still around. She was in White Lotus. She's in season 1.
Really?
Yeah, she plays the fiance, or I think they're married. They're on their honeymoon.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Freaking Annabeth, dude.
That's fucking right.
Yeah.
Yes, but like, at the time they're like, oh, who's young and attractive? Logan Lerman and Alexandra Daddario. Cool. Yeah. Those are our 2 leads in this movie.
That was like, I think that...
they're like, oh, Uma Thurman, let's get her.
Yeah, I think they've kind of hopped off of the YA novel train for the most part, but that was really big in the 2010s. Like, it probably started with Twilight or Hunger Games, whichever one came out first. But those became...
I think Twilight came out first.
Those became hardcore cash grabs. Like, to the point where, like, again, Harry Potter technically started it, but I would say Harry Potter did it out of necessity. The other franchises, which is, like, so much so that they're like, no, we're just going to split the last book in half. Fuck it. Let's make 2 parts. Doesn't matter if we don't need them. We'll make more money this way.
Yeah. Hunger Games was definitely like the best of that era of like the YA like novel.
Harry Potter was, dude.
Well, okay, no, like of
Harry
like
Potter's the GOAT.
of the like. Well, okay, so Harry Potter is the GOAT from because they started in like
2000,
like 99 or something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
that's right,
you know,
yeah,
and then they went from there. But I'm talking about just strictly like the 2010s,
era,
like
yeah.
the ones to come out then. Like you had like Maze Runner,
Yeah.
you had fucking Percy Jackson, you had Hunger Games.
Yep.
Hunger Games was for sure the best. I think they did it the best out of all of them.
Maze
Runner was cool. Maze Runner was for sure cool.
I don't know if I missed the hype for it or if it just wasn't for me, but Hunger Games hit the same as all the other ones to me. I never really got the hype of Hunger Games. Like,
dude, I remember tripping out the first time I watched Hunger Games.
I think that Jennifer Lawrence is really good because obviously she has gone on to be like an amazing actress in like really great movies and really great roles and stuff. But like, I also feel the same way about Logan Lerman in that. I even like, he hasn't been in a lot, but I still like Dylan O'Brien, who's like the main dude from Maze Runner, right? But
yeah, true.
But to me, it's from again. There's just I know I missed this. That's why I'm saying like disclaimer. Like I know how big Hunger Games was, but like it wasn't it for me.
Have you gone back and watched it since at all?
I've seen the first and second one like I don't know since graduating high school, but I haven't seen the like last ones since they were probably like out in theaters or like right after like on DVD or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like maybe I have to just give them a rewatch and see if they are still worth it. But yeah, it didn't ever like, I don't know. It just it had that same 6th to 8th grader, maybe freshman year of high school-esque feeling to me. It didn't feel elevated, at least not at the time.
Okay.
That's what it was for me.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's bad. I still enjoyed when I watched them. It just wasn't like this tier above all of the other stuff that I was seeing. It was still pretty similar.
Yeah, I just remember just like I think the concept of it just tripped me out the most. I'm like, what? These fools just fight and kill each other?
Maybe
like,
that's what it was.
I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's like it was the most violent or whatever, right? Of like those ones, probably the most intense.
And I don't think I think Maze Runner isn't like far off, but I think it definitely tapers off after that first movie. Like the first movie is for sure the best.
Yeah,
and like I think. I don't want to say the Hunger Games like gets like immensely stronger as it goes on, but I think it maintains a certain level.
It's consistent at least.
Yeah, it's very consistent to whereas like there is a considerable drop off from like Maze Runner 1 to like to
same
2.
with Percy Jackson.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Where like 1 is pretty good for what it is, you know, but then you get to the other ones and you're just like,
yeah.
Where I think like Hunger Games 1 was very shocking because it's like the first time. Like if you've never read the books, right? If you're someone like me that just watched the movie and you watch it, you're like, holy shit, okay. So like what's going on? This is post-apocalyptic and they're all got to fight each other. Holy shit, this is crazy. And then you see them fight and you're like, oh my gosh. And everything within it, right? Was like super captivating to me.
Yeah.
Was like the whole idea of like getting the sponsors and getting people to like you and all this fucking different shit and playing the game within the game of shit like that.
I did I think that's what it is it's like, it's the classic fucking Danielle bullshit, which is like, I like the games. Like I played Minecraft Hunger Games a bunch. On the ranch, we used to play versions of Minecraft, like and make a cornucopia and crazy shit or whatever, right? But I think once it got into like the drama aspects and like the
more
political
politics,
and like the fucking love triangles and stuff like that, that's not for me. You know me.
Yeah.
That's the stuff where you're gonna lose me. So that's probably what it was. It's just I didn't fuck with the broader like mythos of Hunger Games. I was just down to watch people fight each other in the game.
Yeah.
Like that's cool to me.
Yeah. The second one was cool because they definitely upped the ante of like the Hunger Games and being like,
it's like bigger, right?
It's like bigger and like the cornucopia like shit, like it fucking turns like a fucking clock and shit like that, and everything gets all fucking crazy. And then you really have like some fucking inside fucking sides going on and shit
some
like that.
Secret game, like secret team and alliances and shit.
Yeah. And I thought that was pretty fucking crazy. And then the ending being like, holy shit, the Games Master is actually like on the side of like the good guys. Like this is fucking crazy. Like holy fucking shit.
Yeah, I don't even remember that. See.
Yeah, it was like because they got like a new Games Master, and he's like doing his Games Master stuff within trying to kill people, blah 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 blah. And then at the end, when like Katniss shoots her arrow into like the dome.
Oh yeah, she like blows it up.
She like blows it up.
Yeah.
And then there's a fucking like
drone or whatever, right?
There's like a something like I don't even want to call it a plane because it's too futuristic. I think to
some
even
kind of future helicopter.
yeah, some kind of future ship type thing. Fucking just comes down and like picks her up.
Yeah,
and you kind of just like see her like
that. I remember that shot. Yeah, her getting lifted off of the ground. Yeah,
and then she like falls asleep, and then she wakes up and she's like in the ship and she's like in the hospital and blah blah blah. And Haymitch is there, and then the new games master is there.
Oh, that's like the beginning of like the resistance shit or whatever, right? That happens in the third.
And he was like, yeah, our whole plan was to like, kind of
wreck
do
the games
wreck the games and do all this shit.
Yeah.
And that's when you find out like they couldn't get PETA out, and PETA was still in the fucking
he gets left
in the
behind,
Capitol and shit like that. And the third one, I don't think I don't remember being the most down for because it was the biggest deviation from the other ones in terms of like there was no actual Hunger Games going on.
Yeah.
So I was just like, where is this at? Where's the Hunger Games at?
Yeah. It's the main things that I remember from like the 2-parter of the third one is that I was pretty shocked that the little sister gets like blown the fuck up.
Oh yeah.
Because she gets left behind, right?
Yeah.
I think her name's like Primrose or something like that.
Yeah.
And then B, or 2, I think I said 1 though. I can't remember.
Fuck it.
1 and B.
B is technically the second letter of the alphabet, so you're right.
Yeah. Fucking the bit, I think at the end of the 4th movie when like Katniss is supposed to shoot, is his name Snow?
Yeah.
And she like turns and shoots Julianne Moore instead. Like the redheaded chick or whatever.
Yeah.
I forgot. I don't even remember what her name was, but she was like the evil one in that one. And it's like, oh no, she didn't execute him. She killed the other lady or whatever. Yeah.
That one, like the Mockingjay Part 1 and 2 they were the most like politically centric.
Yeah,
like,
that shit got really heavy into like the resistance versus like the Capitol and shit.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
That's what I remember like as a kid, like taking me out of like whoa.
I want to see Hunger Games.
What do you mean these people are getting together and they're gonna fight in an arena?
This is called the Hunger Games.
Yeah. But as a kid, not understanding the broader story that they're trying to tell.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But I guess that's like I guess I don't want to say like the price you pay, but like, the first movie being so centered around like the actual games, right? Mm-hmm. And like, maybe you have audiences like myself that didn't do the work and go and read the books and understand that there is things going on.
Yeah, definitely.
But
whatever.
Now that I understand it, I think that's why I liked the most recent one a lot. I thought it was pretty
gets
cool.
more into that stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, you do see OG Hunger Games, It's like going back and like seeing like how they played golf, like when golf was first
in the very
around.
Old days,
and you're like, what? They use wooden clubs? That's crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was kind of like that, but definitely more political. But it was cool. It was good. I had a good time. My mom had a good time. My sister had a good time.
Yeah.
They're both way more into Hunger Games than I am.
Oh, okay.
And they really liked it. So I was like, okay.
I will say too, something that like especially missed me as like a teenage boy probably is certainly not the first, but I would say of the 2000s era, like Jennifer Lawrence was certainly like an icon of like woman empowerment in an action movie too. Because like Katniss was not helpless. Like Katniss,
you were just super misogynistic when you were a kid.
No, but I was a 14-year-old boy.
Like, I don't want to see a girl in the lead.
I was like 13 when the first one came out, so like that's still like in between like girls are gross and I think I want to kiss them now. What's going on here? Like you know what I mean?
Like I feel a little funny when I'm watching this.
Yeah. I actually liked how fucking the kid in the second fucking Santa Claus explains it. He's like, I started caring what I wanted to wear about her and like got this weird pit in my stomach and I think I want to kiss her.
Yeah. That's just funny.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I think that missed me. But at that time, I'm sure, especially for like, young girls and stuff. Like I said, Katniss was not a pushover. Like she was pretty badass in those movies. So that's good too.
But you're like, I don't want to see a girl.
No, she was cool.
I don't want to see a girl shoot an arrow.
Crazy. Yeah. No.
You're all 12. You're all, girls can't shoot bows and arrows.
Boys and arrows are for boys. That's why it starts with a B.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Duh.
Yeah.
It actually means boys and arrow.
It's a boys and arrow.
Yeah.
It's Hunger Games. That's what it is.
Enough about fucking Hunger Games, all right? Let's get into the fucking Christmas spirit and let's talk about some straight up Christmas movies to the core.
Oh yeah,
because they literally they are about Christmas.
They're about Santa.
They're
Claus.
literally about
They're
Santa
called
Claus.
Santa Claus.
They're actually about the Santa Clauses.
Yes, which is good. I like. Yeah.
I never knew that. Growing up, I never.
Play on it.
Yeah, I thought it was really just like it just makes sense if it's just called Santa Claus because he's Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then it being called Santa Claus, like a clause and like a contract, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's funny. It's clever.
I think, guys, we're talking about the Santa Claus trilogy.
Yes.
Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3. There is like a series I saw.
I actually want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel.
I was very intrigued and honestly very, very down for the like cinematic universe of the Santa Claus. Because I did not remember anything past the fact that Tim Allen fucking has Santa Claus falls off his roof, he puts the suit on and he becomes Santa Claus.
Yeah.
That's what I remembered. So the first movie emotionally hit me pretty different because it actually gets pretty heavy at times.
Yeah.
And then the subsequent two, the third one's my least favorite, but the subsequent two amazed me in how wide they built the universe of this like Santa Claus thing. And so that's why the series has me intrigued of like
I really like the second one. Like
second one's pretty good.
Like I was watching the second one, I was like, damn.
It's a pretty good
I'm
sequel.
pretty fucking down.
Yeah, it's
I'm
cool.
pretty down for this one.
It's pretty solid, yeah.
But yes, we are talking about Tim Allen, Santa Claus.
Yes.
Let's start with the first one. So
the Santa Claus.
Basically what happens, we jump into the world. We meet Scott Calvin. He is a businessman. He works at this toy company. He's pretty big in the company. They're at this Christmas party.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. We learn that he has a son with his ex-wife, and they share custody, and he's going to pick up his son.
Yeah, he gets him for Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah, gets him for Christmas Eve. Yeah. And the ex-wife has a fucking douchey husband named Neil.
Yeah.
I fucking hate Neil.
Neil sucks in the first movie. I like him after that.
He's okay. He's just like annoying in the second. Yeah,
he's
the
like,
other ones.
He's like the lovable idiot in the next two ones.
He's just an idiot to me. He's just not even like lovable.
I liked him and to a certain, like I think it ended up being like I was in the same boat that Santa's in, which is like, or Scott, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
His initials are SC either way. But yeah, I was in the same boat where it's like, well, this guy is a blubbering fucking idiot spewing his like, very cheesy, like, cliche, like therapist bullshit out all the time. So he gets annoying, but he's part of the family, Like, you gotta love him.
I'm just sad that like he wears Coogee sweaters and they just don't look good on him. Like, that just makes me so upset.
I will say, I think in general, they're not the most highly offensive thing ever, but there are a lot of outdated jokes, in my opinion, when it comes to, like, what people wear. Because, like, granted, the actor maybe doesn't look the best in them, and I will say, costume designers are great at what they do, so I imagine that was on purpose.
Yes.
But there's a lot of jokes of like, that sweater looks fucking stupid, you're a fucking nerd. Or like, why are you wearing a skirt, Cupid? You look like a girl. Like dumb shit like that. Like it's got like that 2000s humor to it. Yeah.
I mean, the second movie is literally like the like most anti-women empowerment like movie in the sense that like she literally gives up a good career just to go live with a dude she met 20 fucking days ago.
Yeah.
All because he needs a fucking wife. Yeah. And she's just like, okay.
I want to marry Santa Claus for
like,
sure.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So like these movies aren't the most progressive. Like
definitely not.
We'll say that.
No, yeah.
But I mean they're classic Christmas movies. What can we fucking say?
Yeah. They're very heartwarming, I think, too. Yeah. Like I said, the third one was not my favorite, but both 1 and 2 did have me welling up a little bit. Like, I didn't full on, like, blubber cry or anything, but, like, when they got into their Christmas spirit shit, I was like, fuck, that hits, bro.
Yeah,
that's
you're
some
fucking
good Christmas
right.
shit right
there.
there.
That is the Christmas spirit, man.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why I'm most mad that he just doesn't look good in the Coogee sweaters is because Biggie is like just wore Coogee sweaters all the time and they looked fucking sick. And I'm like, damn, this fool wears them and they just don't look cool on him. And again, that's how they designed it, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to look like the, again,
but I would hope that if you have like a clothing piece like that within your wardrobe, you at least understand how to style it,
Yeah.
But then again, I think that's also just me.
I mean, it's
like,
also the other thing too is it's like, I think it's like it's part of it's part of the character. I think.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like a nerd.
Yeah.
Like, you know, or whatever. Like the dorky like relies on logic and shit. Like literally that's his whole thing in the first movie is that Neil's like, this doesn't make any fucking sense, kid. Your dad can't be Santa Claus logically. That doesn't make any sense. He doesn't understand like magic. You know, or like coolness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of jokes of like, this was a psychiatrist. He's not a real doctor.
I know. It's like no, that's a lot of school, Tim Allen.
But it's like that was just like the stereotype back then, right?
Yeah, totally.
Was of just like
it was the 90s. It was the late 90s when that first one came out.
A therapist isn't a real doctor. They're just talking all this fucking mumbo jumbo.
Well, even up until the third movie, his profession is treated as a joke.
Yeah.
Which is completely different in the climate today. Like, I mean, I think it's still very stigmatized, but for the most part, therapy is like, you know, taken pretty seriously.
And like back then it was a lot of like, oh damn, you're gonna go see a therapist?
You
like,
must be a fucking nut
you
job.
must be crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not gonna go see a shrink. Like
yeah,
a shrink.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. Like what?
Where's that even come from? I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah.
I'm so glad that word's not used anymore.
I know. It's
because that's almost like
random.
that almost like it has like a derogatory feel to it.
Definitely,
in terms of like the like
you're gonna go see a shrink.
Yeah, like it has just like a dirty like
dirty connotation.
Yeah,
to
I'm
it.
just like, oh, I don't like therapists.
Yeah,
and like, I don't, you know. But yeah, that's a lot of jokes that Tim Allen has.
That's
or
the
Scott
whole time
has.
too. Like I
I'm
said,
just like, this guy's not a real fucking doctor.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
But yeah, you come to realize that you know, the ex-wife and Neil, I forget what her fucking name is.
I think it's like Laura or.
I think it is Laura.
Let me see. Let me double check.
But anyway, they are very much on the fence of like, hey, let's tell our 6-year-old child that Santa's not real.
Yeah.
You know? And Scott is very much in the camp of like,
no,
like it's okay. Like, is he the best dad? He's not the greatest dad in the world, you know?
Yeah, it's Laura, yeah. Yeah, no, seriously.
But at least he's just like, hey, let's preserve like our kid's like childhood a little bit. Like, let's preserve a little bit of his innocence while he still fucking has it. Yeah. Like, you know, like let's let the kid believe in fucking Santa Claus. Yes. Like, it's okay.
I actually the first one is definitely my favorite still. I would say, and like part of that is because like to me he's not like the most intensely complex person of all time, but Scott is an interesting character in the first movie because he very much is like a big shot, like head honcho decision maker of like a large toy company that produces a lot of shit that is meant to break so that they can buy more parts and like all this crazy stuff. Like he's a big businessman.
I thought that was crazy.
That they just spell that shit out on there. Yeah.
They're like, hey, our idea is actually to fucking, you know. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. But he's like a big business suit kind of guy on the surface, right? But underneath that, he does still believe in the magic to a certain extent himself. And for sure, like you said, wants to keep it alive in his son. So it's actually, I think, like a really cool and fun, interesting movie, the first one. I think it's a good, like a pretty damn good movie, regardless of the Christmasness of it. To put a character like that in the shoes of like, you know, one of the more giving mythological figures of the, you know, different holiday things that they have. Like Santa Claus gets presents for every fucking kid in the world because he likes to. Like he's just Santa. Exactly. That's what he does, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's cool. Like it's actually pretty good. I did not remember any of that shit. Like how heavily they get into like the custody battle of stuff too, and like all of that is like really, really good. I like I said, I think the first movie is actually a really good movie. I like it a lot.
It is, dude. It is really. It's. I was glad that Scott was not like a crazy piece of shit because I think it is very easy to
just make him a bad guy.
Just make him like just very bad and have this bad guy turn good by the end.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he's Santa Claus now.
And I think also because like I never really watched these movies as a kid. Like they were never like I remember watching it like one time when I was a kid and I was never like, oh yeah, this is fucking cool. Like I was definitely more Home Alone, Christmas Vacation, stuff like that. You know, Elf, The Grinch. Like I liked those a lot more.
Okay,
but it was nice that he wasn't so bad because I just had this preconceived like thought in my head of like, oh, Scott, like his character is
Scott's
just
an asshole.
is just an ass in this whole movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's actually not. Like,
No, yeah.
yeah, he's not there for his kid all the fucking time.
No.
Which isn't good.
No.
But it's like he's not
trying though.
Yeah, he's not the worst person on the world. Like,
no, he still loves his son very much, and he wants to be a good dad.
Exactly.
For him. He just makes mistakes.
It's the mom and Neil who are fucking crazy pieces of shit.
In the first movie,
yeah, in the first movie,
they're messed up.
They're like, our son's 6, he can't fucking believe in Santa Claus.
Yeah,
fuck no.
Well, it's Neil more, right? Like,
yeah,
I think in this movie, like,
but hey, as a mom, have a little bit more respect for yourself and stand up a little bit more
for your kid.
No,
that was
don't let this dude who I don't know how long you've been dating him. I don't even know if he's your husband. Don't try to tell this dude who's not the actual father of your child to be like, nah, we're gonna tell him Santa Claus isn't fucking real.
No, yeah, that was like that was the thing that made me dislike Neil the most in the first movie. They let up on it a lot. Like when you get to 2 and 3, he's just straight up a fucking idiot. Like, but in the first movie, he is kind of like again like another stereotype cliche of like the asshole stepfather who's like, nah, like the dad fucked up, I gotta make this kid a man or whatever. Like, like not in a crazy macho masculine way, but in like a logical therapist way of like, this kid's believing in imaginary bullshit stuff and still like, that's insane. You guys are crazy. I'm going to tell him what's what. And it's like the whole time she's just like, well, I don't know. Is it okay? And he's like, yeah, Laura, we got to do this. And she's like, yeah, okay, we got to do it. And it's like, fuck you, dude. Like,
yeah, I fucking hate it. I just hated.
He sucks in the first one. He's basically the villain in the first movie.
Like, I don't like the jokes about like, oh, he's a therapist. He's not a fucking doctor.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't
those
like
cheesy.
those. Like, they're cheesy.
Outdated,
yeah, I don't like them at all. But I also don't like the fact that he uses his knowledge of like psychiatry and stuff like that.
It, bro. Yeah.
On a child,
dude,
bro.
He's like what? Like maybe 6 or 7, I think, in the first movie.
And he's like, Charlie, think about this.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen the North Pole?
Yeah.
Like, but I like Charlie's comeback of like, have you ever seen a fucking $1 million?
No.
And he's like, no. And he's like, what?
Doesn't mean it's not real.
Yeah. I was like, fuck yeah,
Burn.
Charlie. But yeah, he's so just like, I'm a therapist.
Yeah.
And I know about this stuff. So
I will
you're wrong and I am right, Scott.
The one thing I will say is if you put him in the same realm of like how deep everything goes across the rest of the movie, right? Because like we're saying, Scott is not incredibly deep.
Yeah.
But there is a little bit of explanation for like why he walks the line, right? In the same realm, I will say they do have the shit in the first movie where like because he's portrayed as like the super brainy smart therapist character, he realized that Santa wasn't real when he was like 3.
Yeah.
And like hasn't dealt with it since then or whatever. So like again, on the like surface level stuff that basically everything in this series is besides whatever the main fucking point of the movie is, which is again only like slightly subsurface.
Yeah.
I get it. Like they tried a little bit in the first movie, but I would have liked if he was just the silly, annoying dummy that he is across all 3 movies.
Yeah.
Like he's the least. Him and Laura, I think, are for sure, aside from like any of the magical characters, because none of the magical characters are that deep at all, aside from like Scott himself in the first movie, and then that's it too. Like, but like other than that, like everybody else is basically just side characters. They don't have anything that's going on super like 2 or 3 dimensional with them. But yeah, he's a straight villain, bro. In the first movie, he's the worst.
Yeah, he is the worst.
Fucking Neil.
Yeah, I liked the gag of just like Scott can't fucking cook, so he burns the fucking turkey.
Yeah.
And they gotta go to fucking Denny's.
It was a good shot.
It's a great American establishment.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Like I always wonder how much like those companies pay for spots like that in a movie like this, you know? Like,
oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Like at the time, like I don't know if it was like a super, but I imagine it's like, you know, you have a star like Tim Allen starring in a fucking Christmas movie. I imagine it's probably pretty big coming out at the time, you know? So I wonder like how much Denny's was like, hey, we want a spot in this. What's the number?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably like bargaining, right? Because I think to a certain extent too, like when it comes to copyright stuff, like it could also be that the movie makers wanted to do Denny's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like they had to approach Denny's. Who knows? Like
Yeah.
it could go either way, but like those negotiations are so crazy to me because it's like at first I'm like product placement is stupid, but then I'm like, well, if I watched something and I really liked it and like the main character that I like was drinking a Coke, probably gonna go buy a Coca-Cola.
Exactly.
Like, probably gonna go drink some soda. Like
the funniest product placements like in a recent movie to me is like the newer Jurassic Park movies.
Oh, the Jurassic World.
Like when like a fucking like a Mercedes car, just like a Mercedes van, just like pulls up,
like a crazy Fast and Furious shot. Like
it's not even like that. Like the car will just pull up, and it just like the camera is just like on the Mercedes symbol, and it's just like boom, and it's just like I don't know
Mercedes
how many fucking times, like every fucking anytime a car pulls up, the car is just like
it's probably like footage from like the actual commercial that they just like recycled that they used the actor in.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's funny.
But yeah, Scott and Charlie go to Denny's.
That's actually a good scene, I think, because like it is played for laughs to a certain extent, but again, like the little bit of deepness that this first movie does have is also like a crazy like shot too of like Scott and Charlie are there, but then he looks around and it's basically like all the other single dads who can't like cook or do anything. Again, stereotypical, I think, because I'm sure there were dads in the 90s who knew how to fucking cook food for their kids. Come on now. But like like the stereotypical shit of like, you know, the single father's not going to know how to like feed his kid properly. And they're all just stuck at Denny's because they couldn't make them a Christmas dinner. Yeah. I was like, damn, that's actually like, again, kind of getting a little bit into something more, like beyond just the laughs of the movie. I
like when they like show up and like there's like already like a company party going on there.
Oh yeah.
And the lady's like, "Are you with like such and such party?"
Yeah.
And Charlie's like, "My dad burned the turkey," and she's like, "Oh, okay, just come
back
on over
here."
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, that shit was funny.
And then there's like the dad with the cast, and he's like, "Burn your hand making the turkey," and he's like, "Yeah."
But yeah, I do agree. I really like the like sort of juxtaposition that you have going on here, like with something that is pretty serious, like a custody battle and stuff like that, but with something like super cheery, like
the movie,
like Christmas, you know.
The movie definitely, like this first one is a good blend of like the classic Christmas spirit stuff, because it does still really tick off the boxes on all of that, but also basically just like a story of like divorced parents too, which is like, again, also sort of somewhat in the realm of like a Christmas story, right? Because like by the end of the movie, it's not like a classic thing where like the mom and the dad get back together, but
they have like an understanding,
and they learn how to become like family again, because they still are the mother and father of this kid. They may not be married anymore, but like in a really big way, they're still family, right? And like I like it because especially because this came out in like what I think like the late 90s.
I want to say like 98 or something like that.
That's a pretty good thing to be putting in like a big budget Tim Allen comedy movie. Like that's a pretty nice message in the 90s to be like, hey, moms and dads can be like divorced from each other and still like raise a kid together. Or
94.
Like, see, even further back, man, like that's pretty good shit. That's why I like this first movie so much, is it's like, I like the fact that that seems ahead of the curve to me. I don't know what the climate around divorced parents was in 94. That's before I was born. But to me, that seems ahead of the curve of being like, I mean, granted, there's Santa Claus magic involved, right? Like that's the main reason why the mom is like, oh no, this is cool. You're Santa Claus now. But still, it's a good little theme that they have going on outside of like the story of him becoming Santa Claus and stuff. I like it. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I think it's also just like just a weird way he becomes Santa Claus too. Yeah. When like they're there and fucking Charlie hears Santa on the roof.
Yeah.
And fucking tries to wake up his dad, and Scott's just like, oh, it's just the fucking wind, blah, 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 whatever. And then he hears it and he's like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Goes outside, sees a dude with in a Santa suit.
Yeah.
With
the reindeer sleigh up on top.
On his fucking roof, and he's like, hey, you. And then
slips and falls.
Just slips and falls.
Santa Claus just dies.
Yeah. So insane having Santa Claus die in a fucking Christmas
movie. In the beginning,
movie.
in like the first 30 minutes of the movie. Yeah.
So crazy how fast all that shit happens. Like we get introduced, like understand like who Scott is, what his situation is with like his kid, blah, blah, blah. We get all the stuff with his kid, and then boom, we're immediately like dropped into like all the Santa stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty crazy, because I feel like normally like you would maybe have like more of a build up to that,
Yeah.
Of like, maybe you build up more to like, I mean, you obviously build up to him fully becoming Santa by the end.
Yeah.
But it's like, he is pretty much just Santa by the fucking beginning.
Yeah, because like what happens is I think like what I think is cool about it is it's not just the physical appearance of him that changes, but it's also like I think he just becomes more intact with the things that he already believes, but the personality traits poke their head out more. Like, yeah, he starts to get a little bigger, right? But when he goes to that first work meeting, he's like, this is insane. Kids should get toys for cheap. We can produce them at this and that. Like, why are we doing this? What the fuck? And they're like, this was your idea. And he's like, oh, well, that's dumb or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it
he's like, how about we build stuff that like helps nurture kids, like creative minds and stuff like that.
And he's just like fucking munching dessert and cookies the whole time too. Yeah. There's a couple of like fat jokes in the first movie too that are also bad.
Yeah, you probably could not do that when he's just like, his like whole stomach's just like hanging out, and he's
like,
just
some of them I understand because it's like, yeah, you probably would be concerned if somebody like gained 100 pounds in like a week or two or whatever like that. Like, that's probably a pretty big health risk. Yeah. But there's also times where they just play it for straight laughs. Yeah. And it's like, okay.
Oh, Scott, you look like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or like, I think it's also crazy when like, obviously it is like, you would be very surprised if one day you saw someone who was pretty like fit for like,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
You know, and then the next day, like, he's just hella big.
That's what
right?
I'm saying. Like, that's a genuine health concern.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's bad. That, like, if that happened, that is some magic shit.
I just thought it was just funny. Like, when he walks in, everyone's just like, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
everyone's just like verbally, like, out loud is just like, holy
what
shit.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But it's like, right, like I said, like, rightfully so. Like, you would probably very much like, it would probably be very hard to hold back any verbal, like,
because that's not how it happens. You don't. You know? Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, in real life, that's magic. Yeah, that's Santa Claus magic. But that's also like a funny thing to me too. That like, I guess I remember. I didn't watch that a whole lot as a kid either, but I do remember the first one. The second one is like not in my memory. I had
never watched the second or the third one.
I do remember the third one because I remember Martin Short and Jack Frost, and he's fucking annoying. I do not like him, but we'll get to that. Fuck, I forgot what we were talking about.
I forgot too.
Well, Santa Claus 1.
I think it's funny that Santa Claus disappears and Scott's just like, fuck, let me just put on his, I guess I gotta deliver the fucking...
Oh, the presents. Yeah, I know.
He's like, I guess I just gotta deliver these now. Like, why would you like...
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that...
Like, if you think it's fake. But I guess he like thinks it's a dream, right? Like, I think
that's like that's what he keeps saying, and then like, especially when he gets to the North Pole at the end of the day, or the end of the night or whatever and stuff. Yeah, he's like, I gotta be dreaming, blah, blah, blah. Like, it must be a dream or whatever. But nope. Wakes up in the PJs. Still actually doesn't believe it for a while though. Even though like crazy shit starts happening to him. Like his beard is growing full in a day and it's like white now and shit. Like, he's like, I don't know what's happening.
He's like, yeah, I shaved this morning and in the afternoon I like have a full ass fucking beard.
His 5 o'clock shadow is like fucking full on like Santa Claus. Yeah.
Fuck, what's the joke with the ladder?
With the oh yeah, it's like,
remember he's like telling him like the story.
Yeah, and he's not, it's not exactly right, but basically in the story he's like a rose such a clatter. A rose such a clatter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
and the kid's like, what's a rose such a clatter?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, like it's a fucking...
A rose is like a term of something came up or whatever.
Yeah, a rose such a clatter.
Yeah.
And then like,
the ladder is like a rose such a clatter.
Yeah. I think that's just like, it's funny. Like, it's clever little things that like, that it's just funny for a kid to say, right? Like, oh, like, what is this? And it's like, oh, of course this kid just like misunderstood it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then for it to be like, oh no, this is actually a fucking
real.
thing. Like, it's fucking hilarious.
Great. Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, I think it is fucking weird that Scott was just like, oh, I just saw the Santa disappear from this suit. So I'm just gonna. So let me just put it on.
Yeah, I liked how it started because like Charlie runs up, and then he goes up and he just kind of has the clothes on his arms, and then. A logical decision to me. The fucker's probably freezing because he's outside in the snow in his fucking boxers. So he just like puts the pants and the jacket on him first, and then he's like follows Charlie into the thing and they take off. What I don't understand is why he just delivers the presents after that.
Yeah, he's like,
well, I'm on the roof. I might as well be Santa Claus.
Exactly.
Like, he just goes for it. Like,
it's funny.
That's when the plot armor for the story goes in a little bit. Yeah,
it's funny. I like that they threw in like the stuff of like, what about the people that don't have like fireplaces? Like, how does Santa get in there? Because I grew up like me and my parents first lived like in an apartment and stuff like that. So I didn't have like a fireplace or anything like that. And that was always me as a kid. I was like, fuck. I was like,
how's Santa gonna get in?
I was like, guys, we don't have a fireplace. Yeah. How the fuck is this guy gonna get in here? And they're always just like, don't worry. Like
Santa's got magic.
Santa, he has his ways of like getting in. And I just always imagine like that fool just like had a key to my house, right?
Yeah, sure.
But it's like, I like that. Like that's like such a good thing to throw in.
He goes in like Jello, and then it opens up real big.
Yeah. But it's just so like just good. Like, especially if you're like a kid watching who, like, like me, like grew up in like an apartment that didn't have like a fireplace. Yeah. And you're just like, fuck, how's this fool? And it just like, as a kid, like if you watch it, just like makes you feel a little better. Of like, oh, okay, this fool's got his ways. Dude. Yeah, I got it. Like, totally. Hell yeah. But I thought that was funny. I thought that was clever. Of like they thought of their shit. Of like, okay, definitely. Yeah. We have to like. We gotta. And I think that's very like just meta, right?
That's what like one of the main things that I liked so much about this series as a whole is like how there is a genuine like cinematic, like it's not huge, but there's a like little cinematic universe here. Yeah. Like they go out of their way to explain the lore of the magic of Santa Claus and the North Pole, and then eventually the magic of all the other legendary figures like the Tooth Fairy and Cupid and Mother.
The League of Legendary Figures.
Yeah, it's great, man. I really like it a lot. Like I think there's a lot of like really good world building in it for like a Christmas movie. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Like I really liked when they finally show up to the North Pole and we get to see like all the elves and stuff like that. We meet Bernard. Yeah. Bernard's fucking cool.
Bernard is cool. I was sad that he's not in the third movie.
Dude, and they just don't mention it.
No, at all. Like, they say that, what's his name?
Courtesy's like, oh, yeah, I'm the lead elf.
I'm elf number one now. Yeah. But they don't say anything about Bernard. I wanted Bernard him to, dirty, like, at least show up and be like, hey, I'm still here, guys. But
they just did him dirty, bro.
Yeah, I was sad, too.
But, yeah, I liked meeting Bernard. I just like seeing the whole just North Pole in general. Like I really thought like the set design was really fucking good, bro. Yeah. Like so fucking good.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just so like
the effects are pretty good too.
Yeah,
it's just 94.
It's so different too. Like not that I think any set nowadays would be designed like not as good, right?
Sure, yeah.
But I think a lot of like nowadays like CG and like blue screens and green screens goes into like a lot of like the background, whereas in the 90s it was like a lot. They built stuff. Yeah, they built all the stuff. Everything was very like practical, even up to like like the reindeer and stuff like that. Like that shit was fucking practical.
Yeah, the reindeer are pretty good. In the second and third one, I'm pretty sure they go CGI.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But the first one, it's not bad. It looks pretty good. It's
but it fits the times, right? Like it never felt like out of place. Like I was like. You watch a lot of 90s movies that have like effects like that, and it's gonna like there's gonna be a lot of practical shit in there.
Definitely.
So like I appreciated a lot of that because like it's just like a lot of care going into like building out this world when you don't necessarily need to. Not that like Elf does like build out the like North Pole somewhat, but it is very like minimalistic. Like it's not
he spends most of his time in New York.
Yeah, exactly. And like anytime you're in like the North Pole, like you're inside of a building or something like that. Like definitely. You do get some points where you're like outside, but it's like very minimal. Like it looks like one of those classic like fucking like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer fucking worlds and stuff like that. Dude. Whereas this like everything's very detailed. Like down to like the seams on everything, like people like shit on their face, like everything. And I was like, I was loving it, dude. It was fucking so sick.
Random elf sidebar. The movie ends with like him and Zooey Deschanel have a baby, right?
Yeah.
And they go back to the North Pole.
Yes.
They should make an Elf 2 where Buddy and what's her name split up.
Dang.
But she went back and the kid had to grow up like Buddy did in the North Pole, being like a human with a bunch of elves.
Damn.
And then just do like a modern day version of like the story between like whatever.
Dang. And like
somebody take it and make it, please. I want to see it.
Jon Favreau, please.
Yeah, please, Jon Favreau. Yeah.
And like they split up like at like such an age. like where the kid's such a young age that the kid doesn't really like remember the mom.
Yeah, sure.
And like Buddy's just like, yeah, man, like I don't like just
you gotta go find your mom, just like Buddy had to go find.
Just
his
like
dad.
doesn't really tell him, just tell the child about the mom, right?
Well, like Buddy doesn't develop much as a character, so it would make sense that if the mother of his kid left them, that he would do the same thing that happened to him, was just not tell him about it and just hide it as a secret. That's what his papa did.
Mm-hmm.
But make it like a darker comedy, you know?
Yeah.
Get a little more real with it, get a little bit more intense about it, but still make it funny because it's Will Ferrell. And
he's like, I fucking hated your mom.
Fucking hate you, Dad. You fucking suck, Buddy. He doesn't call him Dad. Yeah. Anyways, that was my Elves 2 sidebar.
I love Elf.
Yeah.
Elf I would like if there's an Elf 2.
Yeah,
but cool. Also would be okay if there wasn't an Elf 2.
Me too. It's fine. It's perfect as it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one thing that I also really, really like about the series as a whole is Tim Allen is really fucking good. Because
hell yeah.
In the beginning of for a lot of the first movie, when Tim Allen is Scott Calvin, he is like a conflicted character. But then when he becomes Santa Claus, he fucking disappears. He's just Santa.
He's like, I am Santa Claus.
It is not Tim Allen anymore. It's not Scott Calvin. It's just fucking Santa Claus.
It's so crazy
really good.
Like how like great of a Santa Claus he plays.
He's
like,
awesome.
How many other actors play an iconic like that? You can be like, oh no, this guy's Santa Claus.
Yeah, no, like it might just be out of sheer numbers because he played him in 3 movies and a series, but like, unless there's something before my time or just something that I haven't seen, Tim Allen is easily the most iconic actor to play Santa Claus.
The only one I can see like eventually getting close to that is David Harbour with like Violent Night, but like even so, it's just like
it's a different vibe because he's like violent Santa Claus. He's action hero Santa Claus. Yeah,
like whereas like Tim Allen,
he's
like,
just fucking Santa.
He is Santa.
It's so good, dude. I love it. He's fantastic.
I love me
really
some Tim
good.
Allen, bro. Like I always liked watching like Home Improvement when I was younger.
Me too.
So,
I watched
like,
that a lot.
Yeah,
he's awesome, dude.
Like
I like the joke that they have in. I think it's the first one where like he's following one of the elves around the shop and he picks up a work belt and he puts it on and he goes, nah. He puts it back. And I was like, Home Improvement. Like,
there's a lot of like jokes to like
meta shit.
Yeah, like I think in the second one, like the duplicate Santa says like, you're a sad, strange little man. And that's what he says.
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, that's what Buzz says to fucking Woody.
The whole time, Toy Santa just sounds like Buzz.
Yeah.
Like, he's just doing the Buzz voice, basically.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
I think it's so great having an actor like that has a lot of great movies under his belt where you're just like, as a writer or as like a producer or director, you can be like,
play with him.
Like, let's just like, hey, let's just do this. And like those jokes, like, aren't out of place.
No,
in it, you know, like they feel.
At times, it almost reminds me of like the way less raunchier version of like Cat in the Hat, in that it's a kid's thing. It's like a children's like, you know, mythology or story or whatever, but it takes in mind the actor that it has and like works and plays off of that stuff.
He's just Tim Allen plays such a good like just family dad.
Yeah, just family dad. Yeah, definitely, dude.
Like, it's perfect. Like, he was literally cast in the perfect role.
Yeah,
like,
really
whoever
good.
did the casting was just like,
he's the guy.
He's the fucking guy.
Yeah, he plays the perfect Santa Claus. He's great.
But yeah, I definitely like seeing his progression of just like, I like seeing like the sanctification of him.
Yeah.
Almost like, it's almost like a virus or something like that.
Yeah,
you know,
it just
like,
infects him and he like slowly succumbs to becoming Santa Claus.
Exactly.
It's like a zombie.
And it's just like subconsciously too. Like, he's not even like aware of it. He's just fucking doing it. He
just starts to be Santa. And he's just like cool with it. It's fine. Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I'm Santa Claus now. This is what I do.
I like just like, it is weird that all the kids are just attracted to him, but it is just like funny as well.
Because they all just walk up to him and they're like, hey, I want this for Christmas.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what's going on.
What do you mean? I can't get that for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good movie. I was honestly very surprised by the first movie.
Me too, yeah.
I didn't think I was going to like it, but I just remember as a kid not being the most down for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was just going to be like, but I was honestly very, very surprised. I think like you, I was surprised by how deep they go with like the custody battle and stuff like that.
Yeah, gets kind of he loses custody of Charlie.
Yeah, and he's like hella fucking sad, you know.
Yeah,
and Yeah, I thought that was interesting for like, I mean, not that Christmas movies never deal with serious things, because I think the thing about like Christmas movies is like someone acting very just not like a good human being.
Yeah, there's usually some kind of Scrooge.
Yeah, and then succumbing to the Christmas spirit and all the cheer and turning into like a good person, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it was just a good movie. Like I love, like we were saying, I love like, we're lore heads, so I love the expansion of like the universe. It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Seeing the North Pole was fucking sick.
Yeah.
Seeing just Tim Allen like just turn into Santa Claus was fucking hilarious.
He's awesome. Yeah, he's so good at it.
And yeah, this was just a fucking great movie. The ending was like, the endings like is just resolved pretty quick. Like he just comes to the house and he's just like, oh yeah, Santa. Yeah. Boom. He's just like, all right, cool, I'm fully Santa. Yeah. Almost gets arrested, and then everyone else is just like, you know what? It's all fucking
it's
good.
Fine. He's Santa Claus.
Yeah, exactly.
I did like the joke that they do at the end where because I was actually, the ending at first I was like, oh, Charlie's being like a poor little kid, he's crying or whatever. But then I was like, oh shit, wait, is he not coming back? Like, does he have to just be Santa at the North Pole all the time now? Like, he's not going to see Charlie anymore? And then like they do the skip and he's like, if you ever need me, just shake this globe and you'll be able to see him. Or like what's his name says it, right? Bernard, yeah. And they like do like a kind of like slow fade, and like to me I thought like, oh, it's like later and he wants to see his dad or whatever, he does it, and it's like, it's been 10 minutes. He's like, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, I want to go with you. And he's like, all right, come on. And he's like, yeah. And then they hammer it home again. He's like, only if it's okay with your mom. And he's like,
I just want to know how they explain publicly that Scott Calvin just disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine, like I imagine like on the news, like, local businessman Scott Calvin has recently gone missing.
I don't know exactly how the Santa Claus works, but it does say that like you forfeit and any former identity of you will cease to exist.
Okay.
So maybe the Santa magic covers that, of like the previous person that he was, like, aside from, I guess, like people that he would meet, right? Because like the principal knows that he's his, like, Charlie's dad.
Yeah.
In the second movie, stuff like that. But maybe like it's like a clean slate program type of bullshit,
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
No, but I agree that is weird, because like he, after the Santification starts to happen, he still goes to his job, and like, like people still rely on him for stuff and whatnot, and then all of a sudden he's gone.
Local businessman Scott Calvin has recently gone missing. We have reason to believe he has fled the country because local authorities cannot find him in areas that he normally is at, i.e. his home, his work, his ex-wife's home, or anything else. So yes, if you have seen Scott Calvin, please contact local authorities, and you will be rewarded with a lump sum of money.
That'd be awesome, actually. Mm-hmm. If I was Charlie, I'd be like, I found my dad.
Give me the money, bitch.
Yeah. Honestly, if I was Laura, too, I'd be like, hey, listen, we went through a lot of shit. You became Santa Claus. Maybe help us out with this one, eh, buddy?
I'd be like, no, you married a doucher.
Neil fucking sucks. Tough business. He should be rich if he's a therapist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe he just... Because he's just home all the time, so maybe he
doesn't get any clients.
Yeah. But again, it is Christmas, so maybe he's just like on holiday.
So yeah, there you go.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Sure, there you go.
What
was our rating system last week, or what for the other ones we did? It's like a Christmas movie.
It was not a Christmas movie.
A Christmas movie.
Christmas or motherfucking Santa Claus.
Motherfucking Santa Claus. This one I gotta say is a motherfucking Santa Claus.
Yeah, it is. I would say just by default all of them are motherfucking Santa Claus.
Yeah, I agree. They are. I just don't, the third one kind of is annoying to me, that's all. Wasn't my favorite.
I feel you.
2 I still really liked.
Out of 5 cookies on a plate, how many cookies do you give?
This first one I give 5 out of 5 cookies on a plate.
5 out of 5 cookies?
5 out of 5 Santa Claus cookies.
Dang, there you go. What kind of cookies are you leaving for Santa?
Just chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip?
The classic. Yeah.
See, I would leave them sugar cookies, bro.
I like that.
Sugar cookies with like the frosting on it, as like Christmas decorated cookies.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Like a candy cane or like a sand or like a fucking snowman or like,
personally, I'm a sucker for just a good old warm plain sugar cookie doesn't need to have anything on there for me.
That's true.
That shit's
I'm
bomb,
very
dude.
like whenever like my sister and my mom make sugar cookies for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like and they come straight out of the oven.
Those are the best.
I'm out there like a vulture and I'm
Dude,
like,
yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
can I have one?
You munch them when they're still too hot, but then you have a cold glass of milk, so it just evens it out.
Yeah.
You know, it's so good.
And I'm like, hey, can I have one?
Yeah.
They're like, fucking fine.
When they just melt, bro, you don't even have to chew them. It's the best.
And then
So
they
good.
just leave them there, and I sneak another one. You know?
Oh yeah, totally.
I'm bad. I do that shit a lot.
Sugar cookies are good, dude.
But yeah, I would say for sure this is 5 out of 5 cookies.
Yeah.
You know, it's a classic Christmas movie. You can't go wrong with Tim Allen.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great fucking story, and it's just a lot of fun. You know, it's just a lot of fucking fun.
It really is. Yeah, it's a good concept. I like it.
But yeah, let's move on to the Santa Claus 2.
Yeah.
So in this movie, Santa Claus, aka Scott Calvin, aka Tim Allen, learns that life is cool being Santa, but guess what? You need a fucking
There's
Mrs.
a clause
Claus
within the clause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Mrs. Claus.
Yes, which is also funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which states, hey man, if you don't have a Mrs. Claus by this Christmas or whatever,
you will cease to be Santa.
And he's like, fuck.
The desantification process has begun.
Exactly. And guess what? He has 28 days.
Yeah. To find a wife.
Yeah.
Not like true love or like get,
find a wife.
with somebody. Find a wife.
Find a fucking
get
wife.
Married.
You have to marry someone. Someone has to agree to marry you, and you have to marry.
She has to be Mrs. Claus and live in the North Pole in less than a month.
Fucking crazy.
In February.
This is so crazy.
Yeah, this one is a wild
crazy.
Concept for sure.
A dude definitely wrote this fucking movie.
Yeah, definitely. It is still funny, and I think it is still pretty heartwarming. And I will say,
I like it a lot.
I also like actually like the buildup of their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that all of a sudden, because the movie needs to end, they jump to true perfect love and like marry each other. But honestly, up until that point, I think it's written pretty like sweetly and warmly.
I was super invested.
Me too. They were good.
Super fucking down.
The one thing I will say is I think that Principal Newman, Mrs. Claus, in the second movie, her first appearance, has too jarring of a character switch for me. Because in the beginning, she's just like evil as fuck. Like she's a hardcore, intense ass, like does not take any shit principal. And then, like, the second Scott starts flirting with her, she turns into, like, a more sweet, like, kind of sarcastic kind of
Power Santa
lady.
Claus, baby.
I get it. I get it.
You know.
I get it. I understand. But I'm just saying it took me out of it for, like, half a second, you know? Like, the first time it happened when, like, Scott shows up at, like, the community service thing and, like, all of a sudden he's slim, right? And then, like, she starts, like, making jokes and, like, laughing and, like, being all sweet with him or whatever. I was like, what just happened, though? Because you did not like him when he looked a little bit chunkier and, like, a homeless Santa Claus. You were being very mean to him. So what's happening here? Again, I get it. Santa Claus magic. But it was a little bit of a flip for me, for sure.
I think regardless, if he would have shown up at the community service dressed as, like, still as Santa.
Yeah.
I think he still would have picked her up for sure.
For the sake of the story, of course he would.
Nah, he's got like, I think
the movie
Santa Claus has just too much game, bro.
But
like this version of Santa Claus is just too good.
But I think
because he's Tim Allen.
He is, but I think the movie makes a point of saying that Scott has forgotten how to be like the smooth, like kind of guy that he was. He's still sweet, and I think and he's funny, right? Like in the first two movies, in the first movie, really, he's a little bit of a sarcastic asshole, to a certain extent, right? And the sarcasm still stays there in the second one, but it's like more sweet and like kind of like, calm or whatever. It's not as like angry. But like other than that, like they kind of go out of their way to be like, oh, I don't remember how to date anymore. Like he has to drive the minivan. He doesn't feel like he looks his best, like all this kind of shit and whatnot, which I liked. Again, it was pretty good. And then like the fact that, it's like the classic fucking like, oh, the opposites attract or whatever, Yeah. Like it was good. I was also invested.
I also like the story of just like, fucking Scott just hasn't been around as a fucking dad.
Yeah, because he's been Santa Clausing for the last year. Yeah,
and then the secret of Santa Claus is just such a heavy burden for fucking Charlie. Like, that's really good. It's
also cool that it's the same actor a few years later. So, like, Charlie is actually grown up now. Yeah. And he stays him in the third movie. I think it's even him in the series still. All the same actors are back, I'm pretty sure.
I just also want to say, Like, because I assume this has been probably like 6 to 7 years.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, time jump.
Yeah.
Did Bernard not fucking tell this fool about the clause? Like, did this fool, like, at no point was he like, maybe this dude doesn't have an idea about this clause? Maybe I should tell him.
That I do get it.
Because it's like all of a sudden he's like, hey, this is going to happen and you have 28 days.
Well, the way
and you've been Santa Claus for 6 years, by the way.
The way it happens in the movie, I agree. It is a little bit of a plot hole, but I give it more of a pass because the way that I understood it in the movie is that like Bernard is kind of like, for one, he also has a pretty hardcore character shift between the first and the second movie. Because in the first one, he's kind of like a grumpy, really bossy elf.
I would even go as far as to say he has that big of a character jump in the first movie.
Yeah, I guess so.
The first time you meet him in the movie, he's all fucking just pissed and mad.
And then by the end, he's just like a happy elf again.
Yeah, he shows up and he's just like, "Hey, Charlie, you want this fucking snow globe? Yeah, Charlie, you can come along if you want. I don't care."
But yeah, in the second one though, the way that I understood it was that Bernard is kind of like this happy-go-lucky, like low-key, kind of maybe slacker-ish vibes kind of elf of like, yeah, it's cool. We're the elves. We're doing it. Christmas is going to be fine. Mm-hmm. I don't need to stress that hard anymore. And then they introduce Curtis as like the rule book guy. Mm-hmm. And he's read every single line of the Santa Claus handbook and whatnot. So like in my mind, it wasn't so far-fetched for me to believe that like Bernard just forgot about the clause and Curtis, the rule fucking bookworm guy, was like, by the way, this is a fucking thing or whatever.
What happened to the last Mrs. Claus? Does she just disappear when Santa disappears? Because that kind of sucks.
Well, I will say this is one of the other reasons why I was very intrigued about the series is I read the descriptions for each of the episodes. Uh-huh. And one of them, like an arc, I assume, because it's like the last couple episodes, is about the reason why then the stuff behind Scott becoming Santa Claus in the first place. Mm-hmm. So they do expand upon it. There is canon some out there on Disney Plus. So I don't know yet, but who knows? Maybe they do explain stuff about the previous Santa Claus, you know?
Because that fool like hella just disappears.
Yeah.
And I imagine just like Mrs. Claus just also disappeared.
Goes away, yeah. Maybe.
Which is just also funny being like an elf of just like, oh, fuck, they disappeared.
Time for the next one.
The next one.
Yeah.
Which is like, fuck, that's just so crazy. That's hella funny.
It is wild too, because like like all of the elves are hundreds, if not like thousands of years old. They're like ancient and shit like that. So, and then especially in the third movie when you see like the snow globe room, right? The Hall of the Globes or whatever.
There's a ton of snow globes.
Yeah, those are all the Santa Clauses that have ever existed. So like, yeah, they've just like, they're like cool with just the turnaround of like human beings. They're like, yeah, there goes another human, like another Santa Claus down, time for the next one. And then everybody just accepts it. Also,
how crazy is it that like Santa Claus is this like crazy, like omnipotent like being?
Yeah.
And like he just fell off a roof and died.
No, there's a couple of inconsistencies where I'm like, because I think the second movie is the one that ruins it the most, because the second movie introduces the idea of Santa magic and him having a finite amount of it with his watch, right? And like he is able to do so much crazy bullshit with it in the second movie, like magically appear all of the toys that every adult in the room ever wanted when they were little, or magically turn the minivan into a fucking sleigh-ridden cart and then make it snow on only yourself, where like he can do this crazy like godlike shit.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the movie still plays him for goofs and he's like tripping and falling and doing a bunch of bullshit or whatever, and like not using his Santa magic when he should. So it's just like one of those like game-breaking things that they like introduce and then never fucked with again.
It's just funny.
Santa's
like,
overpowered. He can do crazy shit.
But yeah, this fool like fell
off a roof.
Yeah. Into a pile of snow.
And died.
When
he can like manipulate time space and like make it through the entire, like they literally explain later, like I think there's a joke in the third one where like Curtis is like he's like, oh no, manipulating the time space continuum to allow Santa Claus to deliver all his presents and whatnot is the easy part. And it's like, okay, but you can't fall off. You know, actually I will say this. The second one does do a funny joke about it, because I think it's at I can't remember which one it is. Maybe it's the end of the first movie still. But one of the movies makes a good joke about it where they're like, gearing him up for Christmas when he's fully accepted it. And every time they like show him the new state of the art thing that they did for him, he's like, does it protect me from falling off a roof?
Oh yeah, it's the first one.
Yeah,
the first one. He's like gearing up for his like first Christmas.
They
like,
have like the fire retardant suit, and
Yeah.
he's like, but does it protect me from falling off
like,
of a roof?
Yeah, what if I fall off a roof?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's funny. I like that.
I just back to the first one real quick. I like when they do like the gear up and they're like walking and they do their little fucking
and then just go back to walking.
That shit's so funny,
I love it, dude.
Oh my god.
But again, it doesn't feel out of place because they're just like magical beings. So
Feels
it's
great.
fine. Yeah.
Feels great. But yes, back to the second one.
I really love the introduction of like the legendary figures and like the council of legendary figures.
Yeah.
It's cool because like it is such a big thing to really like introduce, but they do it in such like a casual comedic way that it again doesn't feel out of place for the series.
It's like, oh yeah, Father Time, all these people, like they're all actual beings.
Yeah. And they're just like funny stereotypes of themselves kind of like that joke around with Santa Claus and they're all just like buddies.
The Molinator.
Yeah, that was good. The Tooth Fairy shit, that cracked me up. Yeah.
But yeah, I like the second one. I think what I liked about the second one is how, like, not that the first one doesn't jump into things pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I think there is kind of like a slowdown, like in the middle of the movie when.
Oh yeah, gets into like the more emotional stuff.
Yeah, and Scott is like slowly becoming Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But I think I like the second one because like things just kind of like.
The second one flexes really hard in the beginning because like they have a really long slow shot of like it's like CGI like panning into the North Pole and like you see like elves flying with their super packs and stuff like that and like reindeer shooting by and stuff, and then they like go on to like the way bigger set of like the actual North Pole and stuff. But yeah, I was laughing to myself because I was like, oh, dang. The first movie must have been pretty successful because this opening shot is flexing pretty hard right now.
They're like, let's beef this shit up.
Yeah, it's like, look at the North. Welcome back to the North Pole, bitches. Yeah.
They're like, we're going to spend a lot more time in the fucking North Pole. Definitely. For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of like the pace of the second one a lot more because it was just like, boom, it's Christmas. Hey, Santa, there's this problem. And he's like, fuck, all right, let me go try and fix this. And he like immediately goes back and he's like, cool, I'm going to go on this date. Goes on the date with that fucking crazy lady that like does the remix to her fucking, I forget what song she does like her fucking remix to, but.
Oh, I can't remember either. Yeah, it's fucking, fuck, what's her name? I can't remember. Oh, Molly Shannon. It's Molly Shannon. She was on SNL for a long time and then like I was also famous on other stuff besides that.
Was she in Grinch? I feel like she was in the Grinch.
Maybe. Yeah, I think so. She might have been. Would have been around the similar time frame too, so it would make sense.
But yeah, I really like the pacing of the movie. Obviously, like he meets the principal, and you kind of like it is kind of obvious when they first have like the meeting with the principal of like, oh okay, this is the person that Scott's eventually gonna fucking be with.
Yeah,
you know?
she's also like kind of the Scrooge / love interest. It's like anytime a person is being terribly evil in a Christmas movie, they are guaranteed the one who are going to go through the most character development. Yeah, like,
she's very much the antithesis of fucking Christmas in this movie.
Yeah.
And but yeah, like you were saying earlier, like their relationship, I think that they start to build was like, I think they do a really fucking good job.
Yeah.
And I really fucking liked it. And they're really selling me on it. But it does like pretty quick. They're like, oh fuck, we got to get married. So let's get married.
It takes it's weird too. Cause like, again, that was like the character jump stuff that like didn't work for me, which like makes it a little less bad. Like it was, one is my favorite. Two is the second. Third is not my least favorite. I still like it, but same thing, like in the beginning of the movie when she's the principal, she's like, oh no, we don't do Christmas decorations around here. Like we put our budget towards stuff that makes like, you know, our kids' school better and whatever, blah, 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 like, and then all of a sudden he just like shows up at her house and she's like spewing her guts about like her favorite Christmas memories when she was a kid. Again, Santa Claus magic, I get it, but it's like, it's a weird, like there's two things going on at the same time, which is like there's actually this good, fun Christmas romance story where they really are connecting as like people. But then there's also the Santa magic that just like moves everything along so they can get married by Christmas Eve too.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good. It's funny.
I also like Charlie has like a really good like emotional scene in this movie where he talks about like, dude, like this secret fucking sucks,
Fucks
dude.
me up, man. Yeah.
Like I have to watch all these kids talk about their dad does this and their dad does that, and my dad's does the coolest shit in the world, and I can't say fucking shit.
Yeah, my dad's fucking Santa Claus.
Yeah,
I can't tell anybody.
And like, I did not really expect that from like, not that he like, I thought he was really good in the first movie as like a young Charlie, and he does a really good job as like a very young child actor.
Definitely.
But like, man, like really stepped it up with that like in the second movie, and I was like very like surprised. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is fucking great. Like I loved it.
I also really like the introduction in this movie of, I think her name is Lucy, which is like his like little half sister, I guess, right?
Yeah,
that's like the second kid, or no, I guess the first kid between like Neil and Laura.
Yeah,
but she is like one of my favorites in the second movie, just because like I think the Christmas spirit of the movie is like the most alive with the interaction between her and Uncle Scott, right? Because I like in the whole thing, she's like, "Hey, Charlie, is Uncle Scott Santa Claus?" He's like, "No, Lucy, that's crazy. Why would you think that?" He's like, "I don't know. I think he's Santa Claus."
Yeah,
and
she
like,
just knows.
Yeah, she does. And then, dude, like literally, that was the one that got me choked up in the second movie. Is like the scene at the end where he does reveal it to her, and just like the look on her face of like, "Holy shit, my uncle's Santa Claus!" Yeah. Like that's so good. I like her a lot in this one.
It's good because he's come full circle. Like Charlie's come full circle and been like, like it's not a burden. Like it's like it's a great thing.
And now I get to share it with my little sister too, dude. Yeah, like it works really good.
I'm fucking crying thinking about it.
So good, bro. It's honestly really good.
She's also just so adorable. Like she is such like great. An adorable like little kid.
Yeah,
like,
she's great. So was Charlie in the first one too. Like he had like the bowl cut, like the coconut head vibe and shit. It was but
I think she stepped it up. She was just fucking. She was just like
because she's like in the first one, Charlie's like not dumb, but he's like a young kid. And then they make Lucy like a lot smarter, I think. Yeah. Like obviously she just figured out that her uncle was Santa Claus. Yeah. Which like how could you not? Like if my uncle came through with like big old white hair and a white beard and like wore Santa sweaters all the time,
I'd be like,
like they think he's Santa Claus.
Yeah,
he does
the math
weird
is mathing
shit.
right here.
Exactly.
But yeah, she was funny. I think she's definitely one of my favorites in the second movie for sure, if not my favorite in the second movie. Just because, she's just funny. She's just like, just a very innocent like little kid.
Yeah, she's like, what does she say? She's like, "Are you Santa Claus, Uncle Scott?" And he's like, "No, Lucy. Why would you think that?" And he's like, "You're the only person I know that owns a reindeer. I don't think people own reindeer."
Like just hella smart as a little fucking kid. But yeah, she's fucking hilarious. I liked the second one a lot. I found myself like really invested in the second one and being like, holy shit, like I'm really down for this right now.
It was good.
It was really fucking. It's just it has that classic like late 90s, early 2000 like rom-com vibes to it. Yeah. But it's also a Christmas movie. It's like. You don't hate a Christmas movie. You write a good rom-com. Those are pretty. Those are really fucking good. Like, and those are just good mixes, you know.
Definitely, yeah. I liked it a lot. I think it was to me it was like a smart sequel of like they weren't totally 100% banking on the stuff that they had in the first movie. I think it's also like a good classic like follow up to like. It's not like a full like hero's journey or anything, but Santa goes through like, the transformation process to becoming Santa in the first one. So the second one, you reverse it. He has to figure his shit out before he stops becoming Santa Claus because now his powers are going like the other way and stuff. So it's like it's just a good follow up all around. I think it's a solid sequel.
Yeah, I give it 4.5 cookies.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say Santa Claus showed up at the house and he munched all 5 cookies at the last one, but he's a little bit full. So 4, and he couldn't quite finish that 5th one.
Yeah, he's still gonna drink the glass of milk.
100%,
sure.
Easily. Yeah.
He's got to wash that down.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, it was. I think it's like these are pretty solid. Like Tim Allen is just like he's Tim Allen, man.
One of the best.
He's one of the best, just family man all around.
I think he's the best Santa Claus that I have in my memory.
Yeah, I can't name you another Santa Claus.
No, I don't have aside from David Harbour, like you said. Yeah.
But like a Santa Claus that's an actual like
classic Santa.
Yeah, and but there's like people that'll be in a movie that like just happen to throw on the Santa costume just for like whatever's going on in the story,
but not actually playing Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can't name another
Tim
one.
Allen. He's the Santa Claus.
The live action Santa Claus. There's probably a lot of like animated people that play Santa Claus that people are like, well, actually in the 1972 cartoon of this Christmas movie.
This is the most iconic Santa Claus actor of all time.
Yeah, and I can't believe you guys didn't freaking know that.
Well, you didn't know. Sorry.
You didn't fucking know Tim Allen, motherfucker.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's the true ghost. Yeah, I agree. 4.5 cookies out of 5.
Oh, yeah. Let's move on to
the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause.
I got to get another fucking Twisted Tea to talk about this one.
I'm down, dude. Yeah.
I got to be honest.
This one is a bit of a mess. Like, it for sure. There are still, I think, some hints of the goodness in the first 2 movies. It's not totally bad. I'm not going to say that. But it's a pretty big step down from the first 2, man. Like, the first 2 are good and clever and fun. The third one, they for sure just cashed in on, like, wanting another movie.
Because this one came out, like, I think 2006?
Yeah, the first 2 were probably within the 90s, like, early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
So 2002.
So 94.
Oh, that's the biggest gap then, actually.
Yeah.
That's 8 years. And then 4.
I just think, like, you didn't need one. You know, like...
This is one that could have benefited from just having a sequel. It didn't need to be, like, a whole series, I don't think.
Yeah, so Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause.
Yeah.
Basically, we get introduced to Jack Frost, who is another...
super fucking annoying.
Yeah, legendary figure.
I love
quote
Martin
unquote.
Short, but he is fucking annoying in this movie. Dude.
Yeah. And we also come to learn that the in-laws are going to come to the North Pole.
Yeah. The Newmans.
Because
they haven't fucking seen their daughter.
They haven't seen their daughter.
Like,
their daughter's also pregnant,
yeah,
you know?
And they haven't heard much. They know that she's pregnant, but they don't know much beyond that.
And so Scott wants to do a nice thing and, you know, hey, let's bring the in-laws here. Let's make the wife happy. Let's do all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But they're like, hey, man, you can't give up the secret of Santa. Yeah. Like, you can't just give that up. Yeah. And so that's his whole thing throughout the movie is like, fuck, okay, I have to disguise the North Pole so they don't think I'm coming to the North Pole. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. And the whole time in the background, Jack Frost is trying to come up with his own holiday because he feels like he is not being acknowledged as a legitimate legendary figure. Yeah. So he's trying to, like, you know, take over Christmas. He's trying to rebrand it as Frostmas, blah, 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 and they're going to kick him out. But Santa's just like, hey, man, he can work for me.
Well, he fucking says it because, like, they all want to kick him out. And he's like, what if I just shadow the big man and try to learn, like, the true spirit of Christmas, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Community service instead of, like, punishment. Mm-hmm. And then, like a dumbass, Santa Claus is like, okay, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Why not? Let's try it. Yeah.
Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
But then we learn about an escape clause where if a Santa Claus wanted to stop being Santa Claus, all he had to do was put his hand on his snow globe and say, I wish I was never Santa Claus. And then poof, he would never be fucking Santa Claus again.
Doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not going to lie. Like, with the amount of crazy bullshit reasons they have come up with, like, you have to be Santa if you put on the clothes. You have to continue to be Santa Claus only by getting a wife that is Mrs. Claus. Like, all this ridiculous, magical lawyer shit that they have. The fact that there is an easy enough out that just forever makes Christmas not a thing anymore. Because, like, the only reason why Christmas comes back as, like, Frostmas or whatever is because Jack Frost had the evil plan to take over. Otherwise, it's just in there as, like, they explain it as, like, yeah, you can choose to not be Santa, forever destroying the spirit of Christmas and, like, crushing dreams of children all over the world. Yeah. And all you have to do is say, I wish I was never Santa Claus while holding a globe. It's like, fucking crazy. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's a big mess for me. It wasn't, like, my favorite. I think it is almost just, like, a rehash of the second one because you just have, like, him not become, like not being Santa anymore. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. But it's also only for a little bit. Yeah. It's only for like 15 minutes. And then, like, they fix it and it's fine. Yeah. It's weird. Like, again, I think they try to capture, I think, a lot of what happened in the second movie of, like, I don't know, just stuff outside of Christmas happening. Yeah. Where, like, a lot of the first one encompassed a lot of becoming, you know, having the spirit of Christmas, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. The second one, he's not Santa anymore, and he's just trying to find a wife, you know.
Whereas this one, I don't know. It's just fucking weird, man. Like
I can appreciate what they were trying to go for. I think it's just a lot more cheesy and surface level than the first two are. Because I think it's the right direction for a third movie. Because in the first one, it's about him as an individual becoming Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
In the second one, it's about him essentially starting a new family as Santa Claus and also taking care of his old family. And then in this third one, it's like a Meet the Fockers situation of like, okay, who is that family now? And what are the family problems that he has to deal with? Because like he has a kid on the way.
Yeah.
He has to make the in-laws happy at Christmas, you know, like I think it's the right direction to go. It's like it's the next logical step.
Yeah.
It's just that it's so fucking wacky and cheesy compared to the first two. It gets really wild with a bunch of shit. Like they resolve problems very easily. Like it's a lot of just like goofy gags and like Jack Frost, like the kind of security that they showed in the first two movies does not match up with how easily Jack Frost is able to like fuck shit up in Santa's workshop. Like he just tricks every elf with cocoa and then it's just like you stupid and like puts his breath on stuff. Yeah. It's like I'm Jack Frost. It's super annoying.
It's also just like so dumb of like we're gonna disguise the North Pole as fucking Canada.
Oh, definitely.
And they're not gonna know any. They're not gonna think twice about
they're
it.
Like,
you know?
Yeah, why is everybody so little? It's like, oh, have you ever seen a Canadian before? It's
also, what's like America's like fascination with fucking Canada?
I think it's just like an old stereotypical joke to be able to poke at as like the, you know,
oh, you're from Canada?
Overly nice, like to fucking saying A at the end of everything, like whatever. They did in How I Met Your Mother a lot too.
Yeah,
that was always a big thing with Robin. Yeah.
She's from Canada.
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
Yeah, it's such a random old thing.
It's so weird for something like that to make itself present in like a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
you know.
I think it was definitely like they had a great idea in the first one. They had a really good follow-up idea for the second one. And then they were so successful that the studio was probably like, you guys need to make a third movie now. Tim Allen was probably down. I'm sure all the writers were down.
Mm-hmm.
But they were probably just out of good ideas at that point. And so they're like, fuck, well, we all signed on to it. Like, we're in it at this point. We just got to make something. Like, let's just go for the cheesiest, simplest family fucking everybody makes up by the end of it kind of Christmas.
Yeah, they got really lucky that lightning struck twice.
I was gonna say the second movie shouldn't have been as good as it was.
Yeah, and they just forcefully tried to make lightning strike
a
third time. You know, but it was just. I mean, you know, Tim Allen's Tim Allen. He's always gonna be very lovable.
He's still
always
great.
He's great. Yeah. Like everyone's like not bad. I do think like Laura and fucking Neil are a little over the top in this fucking movie.
I even felt that way in the second one. Like, they turn into like absolute cheese balls after the first movie.
It's just
they're just the goofy other like parent families or whatever. They're ridiculous. Yeah,
it's a very like you can tell it's Disney. You know,
definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, this one just wasn't my fucking cup of tea. I didn't like how like we had this long build up to Jack getting the snow globe.
Yeah.
And then just a super quick resolution.
Yeah, cuz like what is it? It's like cuz again, it's like good idea to start with. It's just the execution felt sloppy, which is like I like the idea of like Jack Frost taking over Christmas and turning it against everything that it should be. Like he turns the North Pole into an amusement park and charges for pictures with the elves and for pictures of Santa Claus and like treats himself like a superstar. Like if that was the bulk of the third movie and like maybe that happened right away and like the entire time Scott had to figure out how to like get Christmas back from Jack Frost, cool. Like I'm down for that idea. But like you said, it's just like what he shows up, Jack Frost takes over, history changes, and he's like the CEO of the toy company again.
Uh-huh.
He goes and realizes that like Laura and Neil like divorced because he wasn't around as a father for Charlie, basically, right?
And Charlie didn't want Neil as a fucking
as a dad, because like, he didn't have his actual dad in his life, and then he realized that the North Pole is like a fucking amusement park. Literally just takes a plane there. And then just like kind of tricks Jack. Oh no, he uses Lucy, right? He gets Lucy to trust him again with no Santa magic, like just a stranger that she doesn't know.
Yeah,
like he's not Uncle Scott anymore, right? Yeah. Like he's just your older half brother's dad or whatever.
Yep, exactly.
But somehow he convinces her with the spirit of Christmas still, which is like mostly fine, I guess. That didn't bother me that much because it is a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
and she's a kid.
Yep.
But she just like steals the globe, gets it, and he just tricks him in the exact same way that like Jack Frost tricked him, basically. Knocks him down this time, which like why didn't he just do the first time they went and fought, right?
Yep.
And then gets the coat back or whatever. And it's just easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yeah, it's just weird that Santa got tricked, like not cleverly tricked into giving up the mantle of Santa Claus.
Also, with like they're made out to be these like magical snow globes of like the core memory of every Santa's first like Christmas night. You'd think Santa would know he was holding one of those. Stupid. Like he just like grabs it and he's like, yeah, shit, I do wish I wasn't Santa Claus. And he's like, what did you say? Say that again, while holding the snow globe. And he's like, yeah, I wish I was never Santa Claus.
To me, there should have been more of a manipulation of Santa Claus by Jack Frost.
Yeah.
To get to that point. Like, there should have been more.
He's just a cheesy ass villain. Like, yeah. I think, honestly, he is really what ruined the movie for me. Again, as much as I love Martin Short, like, I'm not super bothered by, like, the family hijinks. I think that stuff fits pretty well for a Christmas movie. Is the Canada thing dumb? Yes. But, like, as an excuse to get them there so that they can start doing all of like the silly, funny, like Santa Claus and the in-laws things. Like I'm down for that. Again, it reminded me of like Meet the Fockers or Meet the Parents.
Yeah. I liked his father-in-law. I forget what that actor's name is, but he's
Alan Arkin.
What else has he fucking been in?
Little Miss Sunshine. Yeah, if you remember that movie. That's what I remember from the most. He's in a lot of stuff though. But yeah, like that I was down for. The family hijinks was good. It's just that Jack Frost is so cheesily easily able to achieve his like villainous goals and then so cheesily easily gets tricked back out of them fucking 15 to 20 minutes later. It's just kind of lame. Yeah,
to me this movie should have been more of Scott actually thinking he doesn't want to become Santa.
Yeah.
Right? And then like himself like, all right, I'm going to go through with this.
Yeah.
Because maybe everyone else's life would have been better if I wouldn't have been Santa, you know?
Because they also have, like, a good other little thing going with him and Mrs. Claus this time. Which is that, like, I forget her first name. I keep calling her Principal Newman. But Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
Is pregnant, but it's getting closer to Christmas time and closer to the time of the baby. She's, like, overdue, right? Mm-hmm. It's, like, past the original thought date and whatnot. And Scott can't spend any time with her because he's like constantly being pulled away for all this Christmas bullshit. And like Jack Frost is making it worse. So he's being pulled and like he can't do the usual stuff that he's able to do with his wife. And like it's, you know, again, worse because the baby's coming and all this stuff. Like that stuff is good. Like that feels like the right vein to tap into in the same way that the first and second movie did of like a real life issue, right? Of like a husband not being able to spend time with their family because of work.
Yep.
But it's just, again, it's not even really resolved. Like the whole movie, they're afraid that they're not going to be able to make it on time for Christmas. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I think at some point he's like, yeah, Australia kids might not get like Christmas presents this year. And then like he becomes Santa again. And then the family is like, oh yeah, he is Santa Claus. No more secrets. And then Christmas is just fine. The production problems that they brought up in the movie just don't matter anymore.
Yeah, I feel like what they do is like they really like back themselves into a corner of like writing up these stories of things have to happen before Christmas.
Yeah.
But all the stuff's going to take place a month before Christmas.
Yeah.
So it puts this like unrealistic time frame on everything.
That's why the first one's the best because he becomes Santa on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
And he has a whole year.
The whole year that process happens. Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Very true.
Yeah.
And yeah, this one, it like they just really try to speed run through through everything. Like,
the second one handles it well, but the third one does not.
No,
not at all.
No. It's just like I was not down for Jack Frost. He is fucking annoying.
He's super annoying.
He's just annoying as fuck.
I love Martin Short. Like, and I think some of his stuff is still Martin Short Martin Shorty enough for me to laugh at, right? Like, I wasn't hating every moment that he was on screen, but anytime that he like was being a villain, like, and doing his like villainous shenanigans, I was like, oh, this is so annoying.
Felt so like fucking just
lame ass, like not a good Saturday morning cartoon Christmas bad guy. Like, just so easy. He just fucks shit up so easily. He doesn't even have to try.
He literally feels like a fucking, like, I mean, it is Disney, but he just feels like a kid, like, show villain.
Not a good one, though.
You know?
Like, sometimes we were spoiled with, like, cartoons when we were little, and they were, like, intense and, like, crazy. And we had, like, Cartoon Network that was, like, really adult shit disguised as, like, but this feels like cheesy 40s and 50s, or like, you know, like just kind of run-of-the-mill villain that's just like, they're a bad guy because they're a bad guy. Like, there's not really a lot of ulterior motive aside from like, oh yeah, I want to be famous too. Like, Santa's the only like famous snow guy of the legendary figures. Like, why don't I have my seat? But they don't get into it more than that. That's it. Just the beginning, and then he's just a bad guy.
No, yeah, it was like, it's such a letdown for like you know.
After the first two were so good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it is a bummer.
But I guess it's like, you know, you set the bar so high.
Like you said, you can't capture lightning 3 times.
Yeah.
They were lucky enough to have a sequel that was good, you know? Like, again, in the same way we were talking about Elf earlier, like this movie, like, its thing would be fine if it was just the first one.
Yeah.
But they happened to have a really good sequel, and then, you know, decided to kind of go crazy with the third one.
Yeah, and I think just like the stuff with like Mrs. Claus just being like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just so down for this." Like,
yeah.
I know I was a principal and I had a
Yeah.
really good fucking job
Yeah.
and I was really impacting the lives of young children. But like, hey, this guy that I met and dated for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
he's fucking Santa Claus.
Yeah,
And I like it.
That's what I like. That's my biggest pet peeve. Even like back to the second one a little bit, is it's like that's my biggest pet peeve. Is it's like at the halfway point for me of number 2 is where the movie series stops giving a shit about resolving the real world issues in realistic ways.
Yeah.
Like, the first one's not a crazy grounded movie or anything like that, but there's like satisfying resolve where they actually talk about and like deal with their shit.
Yeah.
Versus like in the second movie is resolved, and even the third one with a whole movie is just like, it's just fine because he's Santa Claus. This is North Pole, Santa magic. Don't worry about it. It's cool, dude. It's fine. It's cool.
Yeah, the second one, he's just like, "Hey, I know we've only known each other for 3 weeks, but
will you marry me?
Yeah, will you marry me so I can continue being Santa Claus?"
Yeah.
And all the elves are literally like, "Yeah, say yeah.
Yeah.
Say yeah." She's like,
It's also kind of creepy in the third one, like a little like culty freaky-ish, where it's like in the third one, I think she's like, in the beginning of the movie when she's complaining to him about like wanting more family around, he's like, well, we're your family, me and the elves, right? And he's like, come on, elves, what do you say? And like all of them in unison are like, we love you, Mrs. Claus. I was like, ooh, that's kind of freaky. I would also be kind of fucked up if I had been like living there and like left my life, you know? Like that would be kind of hardcore. If I became Mrs. Claus, I would understand.
Yeah. I'm also concerned with the, like, you know, they have a new baby. So what's like the direct line into becoming Santa? Because I was under the assumption that Charlie would just grow up and become Santa Claus.
That's what they make it out to be in the first movie. Because like Charlie has like some little like spurts of like, you know, smartness in the first one, and I think at the end of it, Neil's like, you know, Charlie, you'd make a great therapist, and he's like, nah, I think I'm going into the family business. Yeah.
So I'm just concerned with, you know, Charlie's rights as Santa's firstborn child. You know,
I mean, he's not technically Santa's firstborn child. He's Scott's firstborn child.
But Scott's Santa.
After though, I get it. I get where you're coming from. But at the same time too, I imagine like to me, Charlie is like the stereotypical first son, where he's just the good son.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have that, like, you know, like by the time you get to the second and especially the third movie, like he's just the perfect son, you know? He's like the Dick Grayson, where like He's like, I don't need to become Batman. Like, I'm cool just being Nightwing, you know? Like, it's cool. You're Batman, Dad.
Give me a Santa Claus 4.
Well, they have the series.
Give me a 4th movie.
Okay.
Where Charlie's pissed at the new kid because the new kid's next in line to be Santa.
Gets dark, yeah.
Tim Allen's just like, hey, man, I can't fucking be Santa no more.
From what I inferred in the series, I don't know this for sure, but from what I gathered from like the descriptions that I read and the images that I saw on the homepage of it for Disney Plus, is that Gabriel Iglesias is like a companion character to Santa and the family, or maybe he like meets them, and he is the one who's next in line to become Santa. So it doesn't pass down to the family.
Interesting.
It's like a natural progression of Santa Claus. It's not like a familial royal thing. So but I don't know exactly how that plays out either, because like I there's 2 seasons of it, which I was very surprised at. So that was the other thing that gives me hope, is it's like it was obviously popular enough for them to come back and make a second season. So that gives me hope that it's at least kind of good. Plus, Disney Plus, for me personally, plus Disney Plus, has not let me down. Like, there's not really been anything aside from like Secret Invasion really that I have like not really enjoyed enough to watch all the way through. So I'm down to give it a chance. I'm probably going to try to watch it, at least a few episodes of it before the year's out, so like I can keep it in the Christmas spirit and shit. But
very true.
We'll see. Like I said, I like the world of it. I think the expanded universe of it is cool. So the fact that they do have like a Logan-esque, like, oh, like Scott's old now and he's ready to retire to Santa Claus and he has to pass the torch is interesting to me. I do want to check it out.
Dang. I'd be pissed if I was the kid born of Mr. or Mrs. Claus and Santa. And Santa's like, hey, yeah, see this guy Gabriel Iglesias over here? He's actually going to become Santa Claus. I'd be like, then what am I like? I didn't go to regular school.
Yeah.
I just lived here in the fucking North Pole
the whole time.
What else am I going to fucking be?
You know, I'm not going to lie. Maybe this is just like the side of me that wants to like, you know, be a hippie and like just, you know, live off of like easy stuff and not worry about like, you know, crazy intense jobs and stuff. But like if I grew up as the kid of Santa and like saw firsthand growing up the responsibilities of Santa, I'd be like, I'm cool. I don't want to deal with having to think about Christmas every single day all year in order to get everything done on time so that I can deliver presents to every child in the world in one single night. I'd be like, you know, I'm cool off that. I don't need to do that.
Very true.
That's kind of hardcore.
Very true.
Santa Claus is no light burden. But
yeah.
I agree. I would be like, you're good at that, Dad. That's great. Pass it on to somebody else.
But I imagine if like your mom's Mrs. Claus and your dad's Santa Claus.
You imagine you're going to be some kind of special Claus.
I mean, you probably like Christmas.
Oh, sure.
You probably hella fuck with Christmas. And you probably give a very big shit about Christmas, you know?
I do I think it would be cool if like, because like you said earlier, right? It's like, what if like the new son, right, in 3 got the job as Chris as Christmas as
Chris
Santa Claus.
Evans.
Yeah, it's Chris Kringle, bro. As Santa, and like Charlie was pissed. It would be cool if like it was like a thing of like Santa's firstborn, right? Like the first child that Santa Claus has after becoming Santa Claus by rights gets to be Santa. And like maybe Charlie's not super pissed about it, but what if the kid doesn't like Christmas and was like, God, Dad, you beat me over the head with Christmas shit all this time, but now I'm going to be Santa. So like, fuck Christmas.
What if it's like a Freaky Friday type situation where like the kid that's born from Santa and Mrs. Claus like wants to be normal. Okay. And then Charlie's like, fuck, man, I wish I was that Santa, kid. Yeah. And they like switch places.
And they're like, oh no, I actually do like my life.
Yeah. That'd be funny. I'd be down
cool.
for that.
Yeah.
I think just because I like Freaky Friday so much.
Freaky Friday is good. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure Charlie is still in the series. I don't know if they cast an actor to play the kid that's born at the end of the 3rd one. But I'm pretty sure I saw a picture of Charlie. He looks a lot older, obviously, because they made it recently. Yeah. I think the first season came out 2021.
Okay.
And then the second season was last year. So I think they wrapped it up because, again, it was like mostly about Scott retiring. So I'm pretty sure that they finished it. But yeah, there's like, I think I can't remember if they straight up call him Krampus, but like the villain of the series is like Angry Santa Claus. He's like the evil version of Santa too. So I was like, ooh, I like that. That's cool.
He's like the Santa from Santa Claus too.
I guess so. That I know we didn't even talk about him. That's probably the worst and also most annoying part of the second movie to me.
Yeah.
That's part of why it's 4.5.
I thought it was funny.
I thought the meta jokes of it were funny. I liked it. And like, it made sense to me of like, okay, Curtis, the like bookworm rule heavy guy, created the super hardcore like dictator who's like, you must obey my rules. Like it made sense to me. But also I was just kind of like, if they created a clone out of Santa, not a clone out of Curtis. So like, shouldn't he be a good guy? You know?
That's true.
Like, why is he like Curtis if he's made of a clone out of like the coolest, jolliest fellow in the world?
That's true.
That was the one thing where I was like, whatever, it is what it is. It's fine. They wanted an evil Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it just because I liked seeing like just Tim Allen playing that, you know? I think he was like
and
really good.
And it's a funny prosthetic too. It looks pretty good. Like he does look like a toy Santa Claus.
Yeah. I also liked Curtis just because I like the actor.
Me too.
The actor's in The Cat in the Hat, and I liked that shit growing up.
Yeah, I just remember him from stuff in general when we were little. I think he was around like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel shows and stuff too. And he's just, one of those actors from when I was a kid that I just remember very distinctly. He's always funny.
Yeah, I fucked with him. In that second one.
I can't remember. It felt like a callback to something, especially because the movies are so meta, but like, when he says his line, Curtis, of like, the desanctification process has begun, I was like, that's from something. I feel like I know that from something.
That's got to be from something.
Like either they're referencing like some movie where that's famous from, or like that kid had already said that line in something else that I remember when I was
or something
little.
similar to that.
Yeah. Yeah, but that shit cracked me up. That like stuck. That's probably like the most memorable line to me of all three movies. The desanctification process has begun.
God damn it!
It's like so dramatic compared to the way he is for the rest of like the rest of the movies.
It's fucking nuts. But yeah, the third one kind of sucked.
The third one for me is 3 out of 5 Santa Claus cookies. It's not so bad for me to give it a 2 or even a 2.5, but it's certainly not anything above a 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 cookies.
Yeah.
Just wasn't my cup of tea. Like it was just such a big sharp decline from
it's the hardest
second
drop
one.
Off easily. Yeah.
Like it just it was funny. There was enjoyable parts, but I think sometimes it was just too wacky, even for just like a Christmas movie. Sometimes, you know, like. I go into Christmas movies understanding that, okay, there's going to be some
cheesy elements.
Yeah.
Some Christmas spirit shit.
But it's like, that's Christmas movies, you know? Like, you go and watch Home Alone, like, there's some cheesy stuff in there.
Definitely, yeah.
You know, we just watched fucking Christmas Vacation, there's cheesy stuff in there.
Yeah, you come to expect that.
Yeah. But it's like, this one, there was just too much for me, and like...
Push the envelope in the wrong way.
Yeah, just... Everything got resolved too quick. Like, I didn't feel like there was a big enough... like conflict. I think everything was there for like underneath all the just gobbledygook that is that third movie.
Yeah.
I think there is the foundation for something that can be really good.
Yeah, like if this was the first one and the other two didn't exist, cool.
Yeah.
But because it's the third one off of the last two being so good, it's too hard of a switch. It's too hard of a drop.
Like there you have like a good premise of like someone who's been Santa.
Yeah. Dealing with like how that affects his family and like the people around him.
You could do a lot more with him, like going back to his old life and like being the CEO and seeing what his life, you know, on some like freaking, you know, Christmas Carol type freaking shit with Scrooge, seeing like, you know,
how his life
past, present, and future and things like that. I think they had those opportunities there.
They squandered it.
They just did not.
Yeah, they messed it up.
Yeah.
They dropped the ball in the third one. It's not very good.
Yeah. So 2 cookies out of 5 for me.
But yeah, overall though, I really like the series.
Oh, dude, yeah. So
I think it's great.
So
it's
good.
For sure like a new staple for me around Christmas time, I'm going to say. Like, especially the first one.
I don't know if it'll be like a staple for me around Christmas just because
you have yours already.
I have mine and I don't know if that like fits in with like it's like I like it, but I still think it's not my pace for like a Christmas movie, you know?
Yeah.
But it was still really good.
Yeah.
Like That's no dig at like the quality of the movie.
Yeah, but
It's
people have their they have their classics.
It's just not my classic.
Yeah.
Like it's not up there in my top Christmas movies. It's really good, but I'm not putting it in my top.
I can agree. I think it probably fits in like my top 10, but I don't know if it would fit in like even my top 5. Definitely not a top 3.
It's not my top 5.
Yeah.
Definitely not my top 3.
It probably goes in my top 10 at this point though. But to be fair though, there's not like a large surplus of really good Christmas movies. Like, I would say most people can probably agree on a top 10 Christmas movies. It's not going to be like, you know, a top 10 like superhero movies or like top 10 movies of all time or anything.
I don't know, man. You got like Christmas movies come out like every year.
But the thing about Christmas movies is I think I would say any Christmas movie that came out past 2010 has lost the ability to become a classic. Not based off of like the quality of the movie, but there's just so many that fit again that are just so undeniably classic from that point. Even 2010 might be too late of a cutoff for some people, right? That like it's hard to breach into that stratosphere no matter how. Because the other thing too is it's like I feel like a lot of what we get now are nice spins on Christmas movies.
Yes.
Right? Like
yes.
Like modern ones that I think of would be something like Violent Night, which is obviously a crazy spin.
The Night Before.
But that's another big spin. That's like raunchy Christmas, right? Does it have the spirit of Christmas? Yes. But it's not the classic thing. So like that's why I think that there's like I would say at least a top 10, maybe like a top 15. I think most people can probably agree on for Christmas movies.
Yeah.
You have your Home Alones, you know.
Home Alone 1 and 2.
Yeah, you have your Christmas Stories. Like, I mean, if you go off of just like franchises, right? Like, you could probably fit all the sequels and stuff like that into them however you like. But
you have 8 Crazy Nights, which is technically Hanukkah, but it fits into the whole grander, like Yuletide themed movies. You know.
Yeah, they're just classic. You can't go wrong with them. You know.
But you also have like stuff like Christmas with the Cranks. Something that I never watched really growing up. I've maybe seen it once, but I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's a fucking dope ass Christmas movie. Yeah. You have A Christmas Story, you know, Christmas Carol. There's a lot, dude. There's a lot.
Yeah, there's tons.
And we also got to think about the movies that came before.
That's true.
You know,
I think you could like. I mean,
it's easy for us to group. I think those Christmas movies from like the mid 90s to like those early 2000s because those are from like, you know, around our childhood, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, I'll even take, because like Christmas Story is not though. Like that one's pretty old, you know? Yeah. That was around when like our parents were kids and stuff. And then like the only other ones that I think give them a run for their money in the old days is like what we were talking about is like those animated classics, you know? Or like maybe like the Charlie Browns and stuff like that. But most of the time, I think people treat animation and like live action films as different lists. You could decide that for yourself. That's up to you. But like,
I think in Christmas it's easier to group them together because like
there's those easily definable classics.
Because you got the OG Grinch.
That's true. Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah, but for me, and I think I would say for a lot of people, Jim Carrey is like the most iconic Grinch. Like the cartoon is what started it, but that movie's fucking good. Like that movie's really good.
Very true. Yeah. I'm just sad that like we're no longer in the days of like Christmas specials for like shows or anything like that. Like
the world's just not there anymore. The whole world, because of the internet, has become like too self-aware.
Dude, the Christmas specials like any holiday special is so fucking good. Yeah. Like when I go back and watch old shows and like this is a Christmas centric episode or Christmas themed episode because it was Christmas around this time. Like I think it's so fucking good.
I agree with you.
It's so great.
But that's just not the culture anymore. Like the main thing of
fuck it, man. Bring it back. We need to bring it back.
It's because of like, I mean, it's not specifically because of this, but the thing that I can like relate it to the most, I think, is it's because of things like memes. We're such a sarcastic culture now that just makes fun of and jokes and like kind of roasts to a certain extent. Maybe it's done with love, sure. But like we're just so meta now, you know? We're too self-aware. We're like, oh, like, yeah, this thing is great and it's this and that, but like I'm still gonna make a meme out of it and make fun of it, or I'm still gonna joke about it or be sarcastic about it.
Yeah,
it's hard to find like that true like. There's no more genuine Christmas movies, you know? Like even the ones that we bring up that we like from nowadays, like Violent Night has to rely on action and like very violent stuff. Night Before has to rely on super raunchy comedy and like it's basically a Seth Rogen movie set during Christmas time, you know? Like, so it's, I think, I'm not going to say it's completely gone, but I think it's out of the popular like zeitgeist, you know? Like you're going to get those far and few in between, as to like people used to be sold on ideals a lot more easy before, you know, like the 90s and shit like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think meme culture might have something to do with it. I also think it's just like our consumption of like episodic shows or like, you know,
that's why I want to see Santa Claus media too.
Yeah, just because it's like, you know, shows run for like 2 months at a time. You know, maybe a little bit over 2 months. Like when you have like your older syndicated, you know, shows that are on your networks, like they're running for the whole year or like a good portion of the year, where like you can get a Thanksgiving episode, a Christmas episode, a Halloween episode.
Well, the other thing too is it's like we just want more now too, right? Because like you go back to any of like the classic Christmas specials or even Christmas movies, and like they're not very long. Like they're like an hour and a half, maybe. Like, you know, maybe even less sometimes. And I think at this point now, as like an audience, we demand a lot more. Like we're willing to go to the movies and watch 2 hour to 3 hour movies. Like we like to consume 8 to 10 hours of content across seasons, whether it's released to us over the span of 2 months or it's dropped on us all at once. Like we just want longer shit now too. And I think like genuine Christmas classic spirit stuff that we like fits better in like shorter time spans. The longer you drag that on, the harder it becomes to like keep it feeling genuine. You know, it's easier to start poking holes in it and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I like just like the Christmas episode of a show, right? Like if How I Met Your Mother's running and like it's Christmas time and there's a Christmas episode, like I like those so much. Like,
yeah, those are good. Those are classic.
It just, you know,
we don't really have TV like that anymore, though, either. Like,
that's
the last time you saw a new show that had more than 10 episodes, you know?
Well, like, the only one I can think of is Abbott Elementary, and that's, like, the only, like, show
that's, like, the most
that's popular, that's, like, syndicated on, like, a public network and stuff like that, you know? Yeah. But, like, I mean, that's what I was saying earlier, really. Like, you know, shows just come out, like, I feel like shows nowadays are, like, more like summer blockbuster type shows. Like the last like Christmassy type show I feel like we've gotten is like Hawkeye and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and even that is like an event still.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, you know, like I think it would be cool, like, you know, if we get back to the 20 episode, like, you know, season, right? And like maybe episode fucking 13 takes place around Christmas.
Yeah, sure.
And if that episode's a little bit longer, you know, maybe your episodes are like, you know, 35 minutes and maybe that episode's like 55 minutes.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like, I think that like adds a certain like I feel like I tend to appreciate that more when a show can incorporate something like Christmas, you know, into something that I already really love, you know,
into a more long form.
Like, fuck, I love How I Met Your Mother, but do you also, and I also love, like, do you remember the fucking Christmas episode? Like, I think that shit's really fucking dope. Like,
well, the other thing too is it's like they shouldn't limit themselves, because they have shown us that there's also ways to do that with the way things come out now. Because like the Guardians holiday special was fucking fantastic, and that's taking a very modern form of like filmmaking or streaming or whatever, and still producing something that like I believe is genuinely in the Christmas spirit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So like they also, I would be down for that too, but like also just, it's like that's what it is. It's like, to me, is I think it's harder now to try and capture any kind of genuine spirit in stuff. Because we like to make fun of things so much in our culture now. Like, it's so much easier to roast something than it is to like give into a cheesy ideal that is sort of kind of true sometimes, you know? Like Christmas. But it's just...
I love me some Christmas.
I love me Christmas.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
me too, man.
Shit. But yeah, guys, that was episode.
That was our motherfucking Santa Claus episode.
Yeah, it was motherfucking Santa Claus episode.
Yeah.
That was episode number 85.
Crazy.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully this
One more before the end of the year. One more Christmassy episode.
One more before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Were we gonna try to do it on Saturday?
Yeah, buddy's still down.
She's down?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the last of our Christmas stuff.
Yep.
And then I'll probably drop the episode on Christmas as well.
Yeah,
so
why
we'll
not?
see.
Should be on the day, right?
But hell yeah, guys. That was episode number 85. You know where to find us. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, anywhere you like to consume this type of media.
Yep.
We're at 2HIGH4TV, TOOHIGH4 TV. And yes, we talked about 3 Santa Claus movies, but this is 2HIGH4 TV. That's the number 4, motherfuckers. 4, not F-O-R, not F-O-U-R,
No.
not F-O-R-E.
The symbolic image for the number 4.
Yes.
It's on the 1, 2, 3 section of your keyboard, not ABC.
Nope, we don't like the ABCs. We like the 1, 2, 3s.
Except for the other parts of our name for our podcast.
Yes. But yeah, guys, go and check us out. Go and give us a like. Go and give us a follow.
Yes,
go and turn
please.
on the notification bells on YouTube so you
Yeah.
can be notified when the episodes drop.
Got tons of new stuff.
Yeah, that's
all
cool.
the time.
Because what if one day you're like, dang, dude, I wonder when the new 2HIGH4TV episode is going to drop.
Then you don't have to wonder.
And guess what? If you turn on your notifications, you'll
Phone
know.
will take care of it for you.
You will
That's
motherfucking know.
Technology has advanced.
Yep. But yeah, guys, I am your host, Ryan.
So your other host, Daniel.
And we are out of here.
Bye-bye.
Yee.